Text 303-695-7000 or online
It's
at
nice so you don't have to. Though you wish Facebook was the same way, you can just hit connect.
Listen, this whole do-it-yourself thing is fine for some projects, but when it comes to covering, not so much.
Tell me about it. I did some do-it-yourself shades that are best described
Wait,
as
I haven't hit go live yet here, so.
Yeah, go. Mark, no changes on that stem cell contract
And that is for real. Budget line
for now. I mean, until the next month.
No questions asked.
Oh, yeah.
The best
I
in
mean,
the business.
we'll figure it
No
all out.
surprises
Okay.
pricing.
So I got a result. Okay, so Suzanne, your laptop will be here in a couple days.
Thanks, Tom.
It's a really, really nice one. Terabyte hard drive even. Wow.
Cool, thank you. Hundreds of colors off. Signature series window covering.
Another no-brainer.
When we do the break, take them off, because you're just listening to the commercials and stuff. But when
What's Verizon?
Yeah, that way you can't listen to the callers.
Here it is live now.
But it's up to you.
Verizon is a new processor.
The only way you listen to callers is through that, otherwise.
Is it for a phone? Sounds like a phone processor.
Yeah, just leave them on there. Yep, absolutely.
I can't.
This is the Troubleshooter Show.
Help, I need somebody.
Now, Tom Martino, the Troubleshooter.
Help me if you can, I'm feeling down. And I do appreciate
Hello, I'm Tom Martino. Welcome to the only show of its kind anywhere in the universe, the longest running show, blah, 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 blah. Hey, I love it. I don't mean to say blah, 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 like I'm bored. I'm not bored. I'm never bored. I love this thing. I think I get energy with age. And I think that this is a privilege to be able to kick butt in the name of justice. So, if you have a liar, cheater, ripoff you want to expose, if someone treated you badly, let me know. If you want to give us some good news, we'll take on-air reviews, both good and bad. Today, let's talk home improvements. Springtime, home improvements. We got some people from the referral list. And by the way, as you know, we never have a single topic show. You can call and talk about anything you want. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. I always say tell a friend about the show. There's strength in numbers, so we can band together and really crusade for the good stuff. We should reward the good people out there, and we should expose the bad ones. That's what the show does. Recovering millions of dollars for people. I'm going to introduce my guests in just a second. They have to do with home improvements. If you have anything on your mind about home improvements, you know we pave the way for you with the referral list, and we hope that does away with most problems. And then what we're going to do is try to solve your problems directly. Let's talk to Marlene. We ended the show yesterday. We consulted some of our guests, some of our experts. Marlene, this is so terrible. This is called a cryptovirus, which happens to people. They get in to their computer, they lock it up, and to get the key to unlock it, you have to pay. Now, are they asking for money, Marlene?
Yes, they are.
You know, I can't believe this new form of crime. Crypto ransomware. They lock your computer, then you have to pay to get it unlocked. Mark was telling me that people from all over the country are paying this fine. It's almost become an accepted form of blackmail or kidnapping. They kidnap your computer, cybernap. And police stations have even paid. Courts have even paid. Suzanne, I want to get someone on the air who I used to have on the air now and then, and I'm just thinking of this off the top of my head. And he was with Azurian, I believe it was called Azurian Cybersecurity. Let me think of his name.
I think I have him in my records. Let me check, Tom.
He came on my show a few times, and I really like the guy. He does cybersecurity, and I believe it's Azurian or Azur, yeah. And
that office
his name will come to me. Well, you're saying, Mark, there's no way around it. You pay.
You can't beat the kind of encryption they use right now.
Let me tell you, how do they get into a computer?
Generally through an email that someone that is on the server or connected to the server, and then they launch it.
Does anyone know how they got into you?
No, but the last date, our IT guy came in and said that something happened on January 27th. that was unusual information that he found on the server, but it never launched until this weekend.
By the way, it's Azorian, A-Z-O-R-I-A-N, Azorian. Okay, so, Mark, I don't like this. I don't like the fact that they can get into your computer, lock it up, and then if you pay, how do you know they're going to unlock it?
Exactly.
And then what keeps them from doing it again, Mark? I mean, why can't they just do this weekly?
Well, if you had security in place, someone opens
No, what I mean is
something
once
up.
they're in,
Yeah.
once they're in, and you unlock it, how do you keep them out?
Well, you got to have a good company come in there and get you protected.
Because they could have put a Trojan horse in there.
Yeah, they could have.
So, Marlene, what are your data people telling you to do?
So right now, not only did they get our server, but they also got our backup.
Oh, my goodness.
They got both. So we have nothing. Our entire company, this is 15 years of history, is all gone.
By the way, Suzanne, Charles is the guy's name, Charles. Okay.
Okay. So what our IT person said, he himself has not really experienced this. We, have to get a new server.
Well, no. Why do you have to get a new one?
Our server is old, and he feels that because it was old, it was easier for them to get in.
Well, that's not true, but okay. I mean, newer ones have higher capability to have more sophisticated software in the processing, but the fact that it's old doesn't make it vulnerable just because it's old. But the bottom line is this. In order to get the data, are you going to pay the hostage or the fee?
So that was what I wanted to ask either you, if you've had...
Okay. We're going to get our expert on, if we can, find him. But let's talk about what they want. What do they want?
So they want $1,000. They want us
How do they want you to pay it?
in Bitcoin.
Wow.
In Bitcoin. So they will send us, once we purchase the Bitcoin, they will then send us additional information as to where to send the Bitcoin.
You know, the good news is generally when they pay, they send them the key and unlock everything. So at least they're honest thieves.
So here's what I want to know. How did you first find out? Did you get a letter? How does this happen? I don't know how this happens. What happened? What happened?
So, Sam, my husband was here in the office on Saturday and went to try to get into our inventory system.
And what happened?
And he's right here.
And Tom, everything was encrypted. So, and I couldn't understand what was going on.
When you say encrypted, what do you mean? You couldn't read anything?
It was like the file names were all like gobbledygook.
Okay, got you. And then what?
And I hit on some links. Nothing was working. I thought maybe the link between my workstation and the server was broken. But then I saw something in the file, and it's all over the file. It'll say "README." So I clicked on that. It's on WordPad, and it was like a letter there, and it said, "Attention, your files have been encrypted," and about 2 paragraphs of verbiage, and basically it told you how to touch base with them.
Was it scary?
Yeah, it was.
Did it basically say you have to contact us to get a key or something?
Yes. And it says it's encrypted using an algorithm RSA-4096 and AES-256. And
so that was nice of them to tell you what's screwing you. So then what?
Yeah, and it said basically to go online, but not to download a different browser. It's a browser that's called Tor.
Right. And Tor is what's used to go to the darknet, right?
Right, and it's an encrypted, so you can't figure out the IP address, who it's going. So, and then my IT guy said, "Don't do it on your computers. You don't know what to download. Let me do it on my dummy computer I have in the office." And so he did all of that, and you had to get a new email address to communicate with them. And he followed the instructions that was on the README note, and then he got a reply back saying how much money they want.
And they said $1,000.
Yeah, and everything on all the encrypted files, on the end of the file name, it had a name there that was, it's called Phantom, Phantom. So everything on the end of the file name said equal FANTOM, and that was common in all of the files that were encrypted.
Phantom.
Correct.
Okay.
And
so,
I can make a copy of this.
Yeah. Don't you feel like violated almost? Isn't it weird?
Oh my God! I had a panic attack yesterday, and I just you hear about it, you read about it, you never think it's going to happen to you. And to your listening audience, small business, you don't think it's going to happen to you, and boom, it happened to me. And
Mark, I see companies advertising that they will guarantee to get your files back, but it probably will cost you as much as the ransom.
I can't imagine if they're using some really high encryption that it's possible. Remember the iPhone? The FBI took them months and months to get through it.
Well, you mean when they wanted to unlock
from San Bernardino? Yeah. So I mean, I just can't imagine it. I'm reading this one thing here. It's late 2015, but it's where the FBI tells people, listen, if it's a crypto locker or crypto wall or other forms of ransomware like this, just pay it if you want your stuff back. It's the FBI.
How do you go after these guys?
I don't think you do.
I was going to ask.
Marlene, there's got to be a way. I mean, listen.
How do you go after the IRS guys?
We have a guy that says he's a cybersecurity expert, so I'm going to bring him up. He's calling in. Doug.
Okay, that's awesome.
Hey, Doug, what do you do?
I'm a security expert.
So, Doug, this crypto ransomware is all over, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about $1 billion industry, criminal industry.
And it seems to be the perfect crime. It really does. I think I might look into it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, really, what's the catch? I don't think they can be caught, can they?
They can be caught, but they typically don't charge a lot of money, and so they stay below the threshold for the FBI and the Secret Service to get involved.
Yeah, but they've even hacked police stations.
Yep. There's a sheriff's office down in Texas a few years ago that paid $13,000 to get unlocked.
And did they? Oh man, that's incredible! Incredible.
Tom, can you ask Doug? Once we make this payment and get our system, what keeps them from coming back to us? We're going to talk about that. Hold on. I hope you can both. I know you're going to hold on, Marlene. Doug, if you can hold on, let's talk about that. I often thought that you have to start completely over, done, or you are screwed. By the way, today, Mark Szymanski with us from Genesis Exteriors, and he also does interiors. We'll talk about that and more coming up.
From the L&L Heating and Air Conditioning Traffic Center.
This report is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
There's a few lingering problems, both.
It's all there for you.
What do you mean? Oh, to do your own.
Do your own, yeah.
You mean to put it into someone else's computer?
Yeah, so you say, oh, I'm going to pay you $1,000 to... Mark, have you ever gone on the dark web?
I
did. I didn't do it. Somebody showed me the Tor browser.
I've used the Tor browser before.
Do you know they openly, there's drugs, you know, with Bitcoin to buy drugs.
There used to be a site that was crazy.
Yeah, but that site's shut down.
Yeah.
What was it? Silk Road. Silk Road it was.
I like how they're taking only Bitcoin now.
No, that's all they ever did.
No, I mean the crypto.
Oh. Saved and improved. Have you registered as a donor? It's easy.
Oh, I can't separate sheets today, man.
OpenDonor.gov.
It's a real problem.
We have two of them.
There you go.
Commercials from lenders about low rates, good terms, and fast closing doesn't mean they're all the same. Make promises, but I want assurance.
There's a bunch of people out here saying, don't pay it, because then they'll keep doing it. It's easy to say if it's not your data.
But thanks for the FBI to tell people.
Guaranteed in writing.
It's only $1,000 a time.
That does make sense. They don't charge a lot, so you pay it.
I want to see how long it takes to break that RS-2048.
What do you mean?
Mark, how long a supercomputer's got to run to hack that?
To hack what?
That encryption they use.
IdealHomeLoans.com. Also on my referral list.
What are you looking at?
So, guys, welcome, by the way. And what kind of custom wall designs are in these days?
Well, it's that's kind of hard to answer because people's requests are all over the map, everywhere from old world textures and looks to contemporary New York flat looks, commercial looks are in.
Now, someone wants a flat, just a flat like what we used to call just normal flat. They don't need anyone to do that, right? That's not a finish, really. That's just you just finish and paint the drywall, right?
I'm not sure I understand.
No, what I mean is that's not really a design, right? I mean, it's not custom. If somebody simply wants white or beige or just straight walls, right? No finish, right?
Just straight painting the wall.
So they can just get a painter to do that, right? You guys do more customized stuff, right?
Absolutely.
And then, do you do wallpapers still?
No, we never did do wallpaper.
Okay. What I mean, are people still using wallpaper?
To some degree, but I'd have to say that the publications and the decorative plasters kind of took over the wallpaper market, but there are some gorgeous ones. So some of that still exists.
Saturday morning, 7 o'clock.
It's never been something that we did. I do finishes by hand that look like wallpaper.
For a long time now.
Oh, I
Are you
was
worried
wondering
about cloudy or stormy
Because
days
it
to come?
becomes
Hi,
custom that
I'm
way.
Linda
I
Gardner.
know exactly the right color. I can fade in and out the
Candidate
design.
right
I
here
can
on
paint the
6:30
design. It's
p.m. If
completely
the market
custom.
tumbles, how will you protect your assets? Where should your money be now?
Yeah,
Why
right.
not schedule a complimentary stress test
Yes.
of your portfolio? Call
Customers?
720-488-8604. That's 720-488-8604. Or online at
Do you stencil or do you do freehand or both?
It's kind of a yes and no answer. Today's stencils aren't just the little plastic things you buy anymore for professionals. There's a material that we use that is a one-time use material that can be ordered in any size. It's like a contact paper.
They're called masking patterns.
Masking patterns, so they stick to the wall, and I can do whatever finish I want, or stencil it just like a regular stencil, and then peel it off, and the design is there. It's called a masking pattern. And that revolutionized our business. Because now we can order these little silly little stencils. We now can do entire ceiling.
Listen to only one
And they're custom made.
every hour on the hour.
Painting, plastering,
Embossed.
because they stick to the surface, you can do anything with them. Whereas the old-fashioned stencil, you're lucky to have it stick for a little bit of time. And the ability to do very, very elaborate patterns that you couldn't do before with regular stencils. So these masking patterns.
We should put some JPEGs up on our live stream. I'm Tom Martino, your troubleshooter, your consumer advocate, nearly 40 years.
On the air everywhere, now live on Facebook and YouTube. Tell people about it. You can see and hear us all over the country. 303-713-TALK. Also available on iHeartMedia, iHeartRadio. You can download us. Okay, so we're talking about basically kidnapping your computer, encrypting your files, and you have to pay ransom. And basically everyone is throwing their hands up in the air saying pay it.
Yeah, well, here's the
Almost no one is saying fight it. It's the perfect crime. No one is getting caught. They get paid in bitcoins. So they go into your computer and encrypt your files. Then you're done. If you want to get your files back, you have to pay. Marlene, she has to pay.
Yeah.
Police departments have paid. Courthouses have paid. People are paying all over. Can it be stopped? Some people are saying no. Some people are saying yes. Then we have another question. Once they're in, how do you keep them out? Or how do you know they really get out? I'm sure they left something behind. Mark?
This encryption code, by the way, you think of your ATM or to open your phone or your 4 or 5 digit code, it's 617 digits. That's why it's virtually impossible to break.
Now, Marlene, I'm sure you're also worried about credit card numbers, passwords. I don't know. What did you keep on your computer?
We had everything on our computer. So what I did yesterday was we went to the bank, made sure that our bank accounts had not been compromised. I canceled every credit card, regardless whether it was personal or used for business. So I took care of that. Anything that would have any kind of financial connection.
All right, hold on a sec. Let's bring Doug back, who calls himself a cybersecurity expert. Are you in the business, Doug?
Yep. I have my own security consulting businesses for small businesses.
That's all you do is security, Doug?
I do security. Yep.
Okay.
Cyber and personnel security.
What's the name of your business, Doug?
C-4 Solutions.
No, say that again because we got some background noise.
C-4 Solutions.
Okay, so that's Charlie-4 Solutions, right? C as in Charlie.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the number 4.
Okay. C4 Solutions. Okay, I like that. C4 Solutions. Okay, so now she has a question, Doug. Her computer was basically kidnapped. To get it back, she has to pay $1,000. What do you recommend people do after paying the ransom?
So even before you pay the ransom, the first thing you want to do is you want to decide whether or not it's worth it. If it's worth it, then you need to, the first thing you need to do is you need to hire a cybersecurity expert. Azorian's a great company. There's a lot of other great companies out there that can help you walk through the process. The interesting thing, about 25% of the time, the solution's already out there. The code is already out there. How to defeat the ransomware is already online. So if you do an older version of ransomware, you won't have to pay anything except for the cybersecurity consultant. So that's about 25% of the time. And then another significant portion of the time is a new or untapped ransomware, and you end up, if you decide it's worth it, then you pay. If you don't, and then if you pay, about 75% of the time the code works, 25% of the time the code doesn't work. And ironically, these organizations actually have customer service numbers where you can call in and say, hey, my code didn't work, please send me another code.
Oh, my God. Okay. Why, Doug, why are they not caught?
Because they're using the dark web to hide where they are, and they don't accept money from your bank account. You have to go to Bitcoin or another service that launders your money into money that's untraceable or largely untraceable, and then that's how they get paid. And ironically, there's actually ransomware for hire now, where you can rent ransomware from a ransomware writer, and then you pay them a cut of what you do.
Oh, my goodness.
It's even better. There's a new ransomware that just came out this week that it doesn't want money from you, but you have to get a high score on a game in order to unlock the code.
Oh, no, that's just playing with people.
Does the payload always come in through email?
No. It doesn't always come in from email. It can come in from a web page. It can come in from, so you click on a link in a web page that you thought was a good web page, but it's actually not. It's a spoofed web page. Or it can come in from, but typically it's coming in from an email. And these guys send out literally hundreds of thousands of emails a day, hoping that someone will click on an email, on either a link on an email, or they've even got payloads embedded into pictures.
But
or
Doug,
PDFs,
how can a simple click on a website's menu do that? A simple click on a website's menu. I mean, that makes me afraid because, I mean, there are so many websites out there.
Mm-hmm. You should be afraid. This particular thing hits about 1/3 of all small businesses each and every year.
But a lot of them are also running old stuff like, say, Windows 7 or even XP. I mean, they're not even up to date.
Yep. No, and it's an even bigger problem. It's a hidden problem because the FBI reporting is only about 2/3 of the people actually self-report that they had something happen. A lot of people, they get hit with it, they pay their $300, they pay their $500, they pay their $1,000, and they just move on. They don't call you, they don't call the FBI.
All right.
They just pay the fine and move
Doug, listen, man, I need to get your information off the air. Talk to Suzanne, please. It's Doug, C4 Solutions. He's a cybersecurity expert. Here's the deal. For years, I talked to this man, and I thought, okay, Charles, I even asked him, how do you make a living doing this? I really did, because I said, I don't think many people really need the service, right? And it was Azorian. I'm going to talk to Charles Tyndall or Tyndall. And Charles, I have talked to you for years on and off. And do you remember I was skeptical, like, how do you make a living doing this?
Hey, Tom, thanks for having me. Well, when you make a living when it comes to cybersecurity, there's two ways. It's preventive services for people, getting people to understand that security is this big moving target, and it starts with individuals. In order for us to move it forward, everyone has to start thinking more securely, and the more people you get to do that, the more you can get in on that particular one. But then the other aspect is kind of this reactionary service is what you see a lot of these other organizations that are doing. They specialize in waiting for the fire to catch and then coming around and putting it out.
Well, Charles, your business is definitely not going away. I mean, do you get calls every day? People have been hacked or are afraid of being hacked or heard about someone being hacked?
Every second of every day. It's not a morning that I wake up that my inbox isn't full of somebody saying, hey, I'm worried, or I think my business is hacked, or somebody's been cyber stalking me, or I got locked out of something, or somebody stole my account every single day, Tom.
All right, hold on, Charles. I need to talk to you after the break. This is unbelievable. Hold on, Marlene. We're going to delve into this. I also want to tell you, listen, this is important. Mark Szymanski, Genesis Total Exteriors, and interiors, of course, but GenesisTotalExteriors.com. We're going to talk about home improvements. We also have custom wall designs with us, and that's Julie and King. Julie is the wife, King is the husband. It's Julie and King Dexter, and they have custom wall designs on our referral list, and you won't believe what people are doing to their walls and how elaborate that's getting. We'll talk about that as well. All of this coming up, and I want to tell you about Joan Sullivan at, of course, Approval Reverse Mortgage. From Fort Collins to Colorado Springs, Approval Reverse Mortgage. Before you delve into a reverse mortgage, find out if it's right for you. It may not be, but it could be a great retirement tool, and Joan is the only one I trust with her team to tell you the truth. ApprovalReverse.com, 303-771-3528.
It's one of the biggest issues our nation is facing.
So this is the banner that I got. Is it custom wall design? The base has a gold leaf plus. That's so scary. In fact, it's not custom wall design. You know, it's gold leaf plus custom wall design. Okay. We're known as gold leaf plus. Gold leaf plus wall design, or just gold leaf plus? I'll change that to gold leaf, and that's the number one. Yes.
This April, join Habitat for Humanity.
What number is that? 719-510-9170?
That's what I have.
It's gold leaf plus.
How long have you guys been in this business?
20.
For the campaign at local retailers, or visit habitat.org to see a list of participating stores and pledge your support today.
Well, we came out here in 2000 and opened the first showroom in 2003.
Where's your showroom?
Well, it was in Colorado Springs.
You don't have a room now. You don't have another location.
We don't have a showroom anymore.
And you show people portfolio.
Right. We do samples, custom samples. We show them work, digital work on the iPad. We're trying to get the website back up. We sort of disappeared somewhat after the recession because things just not only dried up, but they flew away. And what's that?
The artistic endeavor is kind of
you swear it looks exactly like it, and it's waterproof. I urge you to call the guys.
We got a tuck tail and said, I guess the writing's on the wall. And literally, and then, 2 years later, our phone starts ringing again. Old clients started ringing us up and saying, where are you? We have more work for you. And
so when I talked to you about what we talked about, I asked you about walls, I asked you about wallpaper, I asked you about everything.
Yeah.
When I talk about it again, don't pretend. I mean, I don't want you to think I'm crazy and I didn't hear you because we're going to be on the air. So
sure.
Don't assume that I heard it. Just repeat it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I talk just to get an idea of where we're going to go. And then, so when you're on the air, I just don't want you to pick up where you left off. I want you to.
All right.
I wanted a new conversation, but I do like getting background. So What is your perfect customer? Big custom home? What? Cherry Hills? What do you look for? Well, you probably don't know Cherry Hills. You're from the Springs, right? You don't come to this area.
Well, actually, we have.
We have and we will.
Because our referral list will bring you Denver Metro big time. They are in Denver Metro too, Mark, on the referral list?
I believe so. You guys are.
Yeah, we're on both.
Okay, so
matter of fact, we got an interview this afternoon, thanks to referral lists.
Home improvements are giant with us. Now,
who's your customer?
Yeah, that's what I want to ask. Who's your best customer?
Is it commercial? Is it a house?
It's residential.
Residential. High-end residential. Well, we've done so much work for people in the Broadmoor area. The number of millionaires that we've worked for.
It's high-end materials. So even though I'll go anywhere and do small jobs, I mean, I love that.
Whether it's cost effective or not.
What's the big thing now? What's your?
I asked her. What's the big thing?
The big thing. Well, the big thing for me, you kind of partially answered that. It's very individual. Right now, certainly contemporary looks are in.
I noticed that. Like, remember, did you see my new did you see the penthouse that we? Will you go with us that day? That you were with me that day. I saw it, right? And I walked in and I went.
You're done.
Totally contemporary.
Everything in there.
I never thought I would like that.
Even the appliances.
Ever.
The whole minimalistic look is kind of taken
It's unbelievable. So that's great. So how does that translate to a wall?
To a wall that translates in almost any class that I work on, because I can make anything become what you want. I mean, if your furnishings are stark and minimal, then I'll do like a slick wall or a slick finish.
President of Buy and Build Incorporated. You already know we have the best deals in Denver on kitchen cabinets and
maybe a more modern type of glazing if they don't want to change the wall finish themselves. But here's the thing, even on a contemporary look, if you're using an older style look, if your furnishings are contemporary and stark, it almost doesn't matter what your walls are. It can be even an old world look and it's going to have that eclectic feel no matter what.
You know this. Have you heard the expression shabby chic?
Yes.
That's what you're describing. Some people are mixing shit and good and bad and old and new, and I'm thinking, and there's something charming about it in some cases.
Because it's individualistic.
I mean, it's like, wow, that works, and I don't even know why.
Yeah.
I was going to call him.
No, let's follow up with them. You know it can't be good.
Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome. Can you imagine turning on your computer in your business? At home, it may not be a big deal, but in your business,
you can't get to anything. Not payroll, no employee records, no customer records, no calendar, no jobs. And it's all there. You got everything on there, and you can't get to it. Now, you get some note saying you got to pay up. I mean, they make no bones about it. They are kidnappers, and they say you got to pay. Charles Tyndall is with Azorian Cybersecurity, and Charles is in the business of helping to prevent this. Charles, there are ways to prevent this.
Absolutely, Tom. What you're going to need, if you're a business and you're worried about any type of ransomware like this, first you have to start thinking about the amount of things you're bringing into your business, right? The people that are coming in, they're bringing in viruses, you're bringing in different points of connection, but there are definitely ways to prevent this from happening on your business if you just think a little differently about how your computers work.
Now, Charles, is it true that a simple link on a website can do this?
Absolutely.
Well,
simple.
How can we trust anything then? How can we trust anything?
Because if your computer's up to date, it's going to warn you. If it's, full Windows 10 Pro with everything, right?
Charles?
Mm-hmm. Well, not necessarily. I mean, the more ways we find to prevent these things from happening, the more ways that the malicious or the bad hackers are finding ways to get around those kinds of protections. But the number one way to stop all of this from happening is to take it into your own hands. Don't just rely on Windows. Don't just rely on your antivirus. Don't just rely on that protection or that piece of software to make sure that the virus or anything doesn't get on your computer. You're going to have to start changing the way that you think. And if something that you're looking at doesn't look right, just don't click it. Or open it in something that's not gonna compromise your entire system. Open it on a tablet, or open it on another piece of hardware that's not going to be directly connected to payroll or customer service or your business in general.
Charles, basically, do you advise when this happens for people to pay it?
Absolutely not.
What? What would you do with Marlene? You know, everyone's telling her just pay it.
Well, here's the problem. If you pay the ransom, there's no guarantee you're getting your information unlocked or your data back. 2, they know now that you're willing to pay, and they're going to hit you again. Now, if you're in a position right now where you're locked out of your data, depending on how you're locked out, you can always work with either a backup provider or even find ways for the call home device that's most likely installed on your machine to siphon off the code for you. Now, there's different ways. It's really going to depend on how you're encrypted, how you're crypto locked in this particular case, but do not ever pay that ransom.
Wow, you're telling us. Well, Charles, you're the only one I've heard so far say this.
Well, I've spent a lot of years watching this, and the pattern is always the same.
You can find. Are you telling me that you can go over to Marlene's and your people can unlock that computer?
Well, it depends on what Marlene's been infected with. And depends on.
Okay, but if you're saying don't pay it, what if you can't unlock it? Shouldn't she pay it then?
Well, if we can't unlock it, then that might be your only option is to pay it. But I'm warning you flat out, if you pay it, you're probably not going to get it back. You're probably going to get hit again. They're probably going to continue doing this.
So if let's just say, worst case, they did pay it, they get their computer back, then they have to just disassemble and start from the ground up, right?
Absolutely. If you pay it and you do by some weird chance get your data back, go right then and there to make a complete and total backup of your data, burn that computer to the ground, and rebuild it from scratch.
Wow.
So my question would be then, we have the information. It's how it's locked out. It's through Tor.
Okay.
Right, Miss Sam, help me out with that.
They want her to go on tour, buy some Bitcoins, and pay it. Right. You're saying consult you or a security expert first. Don't pay the ransom unless you absolutely positively have to. So what's wrong with that advice? Mark, you're smirking. What's wrong with that advice?
Well, it's just weird. The first expert we had on said 75% they get it back. This guy's saying they almost never get it back, and I don't think he can break 24/8 encryption. I don't think it's possible.
Well, I'm not saying
not for under $1,000, let alone for $100,000.
Yeah, but Mark, I don't like the idea of a thief getting money.
People don't like the idea of paying ransom from some guy in North Korea either. But if it's your kid over there, you might feel different. This is her data. She either wants it or doesn't.
Okay, but what would be wrong with having an expert look at it first?
Nothing at all. My only point is if they can't get into it and they want their data, I just disagree. If that was my data and I had to have it, well, I'd pay it.
He just said worst case scenario, you may have to pay it,
but
and then you reassemble it.
But he's saying basically under any circumstance he would never pay it. That's all I disagree with. Some people need that data.
Hold on. He said
never pay the ransom first.
That's what he said.
Oh, okay.
As soon as you pay the ransom, just count all your.
How much do you charge to go over there and check it out?
Well, I can send somebody over there for free if she wants it looked at.
Now, Mark.
Absolutely.
By the way,
that's a great idea.
There's nothing wrong with experts charging for what they do.
Of course not.
What you're saying
but if it was $5,000, you got a decision to make.
I understand that, but no matter what, she's going to have to spend the money with a security expert before or after she's going to. Even if she gets the code, she still needs to hire someone like Azorian to go in and change it. To change the way she does things. Why not?
Of course she does. You mean so it doesn't happen again?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. We have people.
I think her biggest part. What operating system are you on?
What up?
7 Pro.
Well, I mean, she's on old stuff too.
Charles, what does that play into it? The fact that it's older.
Well, again, with it being Windows 7, it's not end of life. It's still getting security updates. It's still being patched. It's still being worked on. It is an older system. It has been saturated amongst the market out there. So these are the systems that are targeted right now, and they're going to continue to be targeted until people start moving to 10 and start moving to other operating systems. Because Windows 7 is so widely used, it's why she got caught up in this in the first place. Now, with it being there are still a couple of other things that she can look at. The bad guy guys have encrypted her machine, but they still have to call home, and they're still going to have to call back to the machine to be able to unlock it. If she can get her machine into a position where either a network analyst or anybody else can start looking at the traffic, she may be able to grab the key straight out from underneath them.
I would love to have Azorian go over there just to help right now to see, because if nothing else, Charles can educate us all on what is going on with Marlene, because Marlene probably typifies most small businesses, right, Marlene?
Absolutely. We're an inventory-based business. We work with vendors. The other issue here for us is we work with China. We are an importer, and that's another complication to us because it makes me even more concerned about what's going on overseas. And is that another reason why we got hacked? Is it because we do so much business out of China? And is it easier?
There are a million reasons. It could be just random, right, Charles?
It could be. A lot of time in these ransomware attacks, you just happen to be in a chunk of people that got hit with something. You happen to go to a website that was infected with something. It could have something to do with you being a reseller or being a distributor from working with China, but that's going to get really specific.
Okay.
And a lot of time, these bad guys want to get the least amount of resistance and the most return.
Now, here's what we want to do. Charles, first of all, Charles, give out your number for Azorian Cybersecurity.
Well, you can reach Azorian at 303-872-0115 or go to the website azorian.io.
Now, Azorian is A-Z-O-R-I-A-N, and that's 303-872-0115. Now, hold on, Charles. Marlene, we are going to have Suzanne make a connection. It would be great if we could get a preliminary report like sometime this morning, if not before 1. I know that's weird, but just something. We're all so anxious because we identify with Marlene. Okay, we have a lot more coming up. So, Chuck, thank you for holding. I understand this is a very shocking call. We'll explain that coming up. He's getting some phone calls that we just can't explain. And then Griffin has an auto lab not paying him for some work. Then we have our guests we're going to introduce you to, all coming right up.
How come he's not on the referral list, out of curiosity?
I don't know. We should get him on there. I thought he was at one time. I thought maybe he wasn't.
The metro area crash eastbound I-270 approaching York. That's in the.
So let's contact him. He's really good.
Delays there. Southbound 225 is the only slow spot on the approach to I-25.
I just don't like that answer. Don't ever pay it. I'm like, well, it's not your data, bud.
No, Mark. He said don't ever pay it. Then he said that's
exactly what he said.
No. Then he said, unless we absolutely can't unlock it. But first, at least...
I'm telling you, he still was alluding to he'd never pay it, period, end of story.
No, he said in some cases, if you have to, worst case scenario, you pay it and then rebuild. That's what he said, Mark. You have to take a conversation. You can't take one statement. I mean, the whole conversation was absolutely not, he meant don't pay it before you check it out. It sounded like he was saying never. And then as we got into it, he kept saying, well, you have to someone look at it because I don't know what he meant by call home. But in any case, I would love for them to go over there and see what they find. Now, man, from what I'm seeing, though, nobody hacks them. Nobody gets it back on the internet. I'm searching here, and nobody gets it back.
They're not getting their data back?
No. I mean, no. After they pay, they do. But I'm saying from what I see, I don't see anybody that's been able to get, to take care of it.
I can go on and on and on, but I have a show.
Without paying. Without paying.
Right. Yeah. I've not seen any cases online where people hack through it.
You can't hack through it. I don't know how to put it.
I can't believe the FBI wouldn't
do what?
Crack down on these as much as they could. I mean, they're...
My God. WikiLeaks broke into, like, everything we own in the last year. They're not going to be...
Oh, WikiLeaks, that was... They did it into the Democratic guys. I mean,
you know what?
Who had a password of 13-year-old.
Really, if you think about it, though, there are so many of them. Like, when we say crack down, I just don't know how the hell. I don't know. I mean, cybercrime, cyber fraud, cyber sales, cyber everything. I mean, it's a whole new world. It's a new universe. Mark, we're talking about cyber marketing. Most people don't know what they're doing. I'll guarantee you that 95% of every business is wasting money. They have no idea what they're paying for. They have no idea if they are paying.
You go in.
I know that.
They promise you the world.
Mark, I have a solution, and I'm going to tell you, everything should be performance-based. That's it. You should be able to know exactly what they're doing, when they're doing it, how they're doing it, what you're getting, what your response is, what the length of time people spend, if they bought, and why they bought, everything. Without it, nothing doesn't need it. When people advertise with me, if they don't get results, I can't make excuses. I can't. Now, we've had plenty of times where we generate tremendous leads, and people don't follow up on them.
Oh, God, it's the most frustrating.
That's our most frustrating. Really.
I heard your commercial yesterday about so-and-so. I left 3 messages with them. They won't call back.
We over-deliver. We over-deliver. People need to follow up.
The biggest thing with this stuff, though, if you have up-to-date stuff, and you try to open an attachment like that, either on email or in a web browser, it's going to say, are you sure you want to open this? This could be dangerous. I mean, that is your #1 thing right there.
Well, you kept pushing, it's not the latest and greatest, and he did say, oh yeah, because they are writing this technology for the 7, and now, you know, eventually they're starting to write it for the 10, I'm sure. But, you know,
well, the main thing is that people open it. He opened an email a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. We had to literally redo everything. Remember that?
I got mad.
They grabbed his credit card numbers. He had fraud everywhere in the freaking world.
No, Mark, it wasn't that. I opened up.
No, it was an email from somebody that got hacked.
No.
Because it came from someone you knew.
I thought I was. Okay, it could have been.
That's right. I get those. Yeah, you look at this, I just delete them.
You're right, Mark. Something happened that I clicked on. You're right.
Yeah, because you thought it was from somebody you knew. It literally is from somebody you knew. Because when they hacked his, everybody in his Gmail got an email that said it was from Tom, from Tom's email, saying click here.
Right, and I just delete those. There's no reason to open those.
But clicking on the website and stuff?
It's the same thing. They're just trying to deliver malicious. Most operating systems only do it.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter, 303.
713-8255. Welcome. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Chuck, we're going to talk to you right now because you held yesterday and didn't get on. What is going on? Are you there, Chuck?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
What's happening?
Oh, we've been getting some anti-Semitic and threatening phone calls.
Now, what do you mean by that? I mean, in other words, do people just call you and say, hey, you do blah, 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 or are they leaving messages? What do you mean anti-Semitic phone calls?
Well, yeah, they've been calling here because we have doctors, both our doctors are Jewish, so they've been calling up, you know, saying all kind of really vulgar
Now,
stuff.
is this your office?
No, home.
And you say doctors. You mean your last name?
It's not Jewish, we're not, but our doctors are.
But what I don't understand is, how does someone know your doctors are Jewish and call you?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to find out.
Well, how do you know it's because of your doctors?
Well,
are you saying they're the... What do the callers say without being vulgar? What do they say?
Well, they call up, we see you're going to this, doctor...
Oh, so they do mention the doctor. When they call, they say, you're going to this doctor, and what do they say?
This, filthy, dirty...
Okay. So, but they talk about your doctor, and do they say, don't go to this doctor, or why are you going to this doctor, or what?
Yeah, they said, you better not go to this doctor, or you're not going to make it out there alive, because we're watching you.
Really? And do they say it's because he's a Jew? Do they say this dirty Jew or something? Do they mention Judaism?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. So, yeah, you're a Jew lover, aren't you? You love those.
A Jew lover?
Yeah, filthy Jew doctor lover. Aren't you?
Sounds like someone really hates his doctor.
Now, wait a minute. Who got these calls? Did you get some?
My mother.
Did you ever get them?
When I answered the phone, there's nothing. so they wait for her to answer the phone, because she's older, so if I have to pick up medicine and stuff, they'll wait for her to answer the phone.
Well, hold on now. She's the only one that heard these calls?
Yeah, they talked to her both times.
And they were how many calls? 2?
2, yeah. Right after we start seeing these 2 newer doctors.
How old is your mom?
Almost 90.
Okay. She's pretty lucid?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you think it's true?
Yes.
Did you tell the doctor?
Yes.
What did the doctor say?
Well, both of them, one at the hospital said they'd do an internal investigation. And
They wanted the what?
Internal investigation.
But you said both of them wanted the hospital to do it.
Yeah, the first one, I called them to see...
Mark, what do you think he should do?
Why they were singling her out, not the other patients, just her.
I don't know.
No, well, here are the possibilities. Okay?
I'd hire a PI if you really want to.
Here are the possibilities. The possibilities are it's not happening. The other possibility is it's someone you guys know. Or what other possibility could there be?
See, she had...
He's not being accurate.
They both checked and they said they didn't find anything. So then we made an appointment last week, and it was on a Tuesday. Then on a Friday they called again saying, "Oh,
wow.
We understand you filthy Jew lover."
Why don't you start recording the calls?
Well, I just have a regular landline phone, so we don't know when they're calling.
You don't have caller ID either?
It's whenever they call, it's either blocked or it doesn't show up on the caller ID.
And again, it's only when your mom answers, but it's only happened twice so far?
Yeah, that's because she's only been to these 2 doctors twice because she doesn't want to go because, like I said,
I just don't know what to do about this. I mean...
Called last week, made an appointment, and 2 days later they called that night, with starting on the same thing. Goes,
Chuck, do you absolutely believe your mom is 100% accurate here?
Yes.
Okay.
And last one, how would they know who called and?
I'm sorry, I just picked up on that. You're saying, I'm sorry, you're not hearing this. Your mother's hearing it.
That's all that's heard it.
Yeah.
And
they
I'm not.
Wait for her to answer the phone.
And when you answer, have you ever answered where they hang up?
Yeah, we get a lot of those during the daytime.
But you can't say if it's her, or I mean, the caller or not, that caller. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what to say. I mean, you have to have some kind of recording or trap or something. Have you talked to the phone company?
No, we had some friends that work there. They said, take like 4 to 6 weeks before they could get around to doing anything. Unless it was like a high profile, like a kidnapping or something.
You can get devices to record stuff, but honestly, I think it's a little more in depth.
What, are you doubting she's getting these calls?
Yeah.
So am I, in a way. And I don't know why, Chuck, but I just have that feeling. I have that check. I'm because I can see of no motivation whatsoever. Does it sound like a young person, an old person, or a male or a female?
Female.
A female. Mm-hmm. And what does it sound like? An old lady? Does it sound like a young lady? Do you know?
Younger. Probably.
She said a younger person.
20s or 30s, around there.
So a younger woman is calling, saying this. Could it be someone in the office? Are there any younger women in that office?
Yeah, but like I said, we talked to both doctors. They said they would.
Are they looking into it?
Yeah, they said, well, they couldn't find nothing.
Suzanne, would you get his name and number, please? And we'll check with the phone company. I want to see what can be done if people truly feel harassed. We have a lot more coming up on the Troubleshooter Network.
Yeah, how do they know she even made an appointment?
You may be wondering if it's an
That's
injury
weird.
or arthritis.
You would know that, but
That's why it's got to be the office and stuff.
Or no, she's nuts. Why would you think
Okay,
the doctor's office is going to call up and go,
Chuck sounds old.
Yeah.
Your mom's 90.
That's exactly where I went. I'm like, how old's
No,
Mom?
you're right. It's one of the.
It says mom's 90.
It's that same lady.
are the experts you should turn to
They get their.
You don't either, huh?
I don't know. I think she, oh yeah, my mom's fine. Well, of course you think your mom's fine. It sounds like you lived there with her.
First thing I thought was I could hear the Twilight Zone music in my head.
General has a short Q&A at the end of the seminar. It's free to attend, but register to reserve your seat at denverjointreplacement.com.
You're just
or call
hateful.
303.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's You're so naive.
I just don't know why you have to be that way.
On 630 KHOW, an iHeartRadio station.
So, and then when she said it was a woman, that just throws a whole new guy. How many? I mean, when has this ever happened?
President Trump says North Korea is looking for trouble.
Fat kid.
And he hopes
Fat kid.
Canada will help with the North Korea problem. On Twitter this morning, the president saying if that doesn't happen, quote, we will solve the problem without them.
We dropped a Twinkie right by the middle of the road. And the fat kid ran out and grabbed it.
Secretary of State.
Problem is he'd have his uncle run out and grab it.
And we got him.
National correspondent Joe Gomez has more.
Secretary
And we're going to bomb him with pasta.
is coming to an end. The Tillerson told foreign ministers meeting in Italy.
You know what sucks is we had that basketball player over there last year. We could have trained him to do some kind of maneuver or something.
Put a vest on him.
To meet with Russia's
I
can hear you, Suzanne.
U.S. and Russian officials.
Did he quit going over
I
there?
am on client.
Civilians. And America's missile attack on a Syrian airbase to
He went over there.
Joe Gomez, NBC News Radio.
He said he loved the guy.
Shares of United Continental Holdings down about
Tim
3%
Rodman,
today.
like that, what's his name? Marxist got me calling him a fat kid. Don't even know his name.
His behavior was not unexpected given what he was asked to do against his will. If somebody paid for a seat, they should be able to ride. Booking is theft.
In an internal memo obtained by CNBC, United CEO blasts the traveler as disruptive and belligerent, and says officers were left with no choice when they dragged him down the aisle screaming. The San Bernardino, California teacher who was gunned down in her classroom by her husband yesterday had only been married a few months and was already preparing for divorce. Relatives of Karen Smith say
Mark, I got a lot of action on this
side of himself
non-responsiveness from
he turned the gun on
Sleep Treatment Solutions.
Yeah, what was the deal?
The person you put in charge of follow-up had personal issues. And I think she was fired, but she was replaced. I don't know if she was moved somewhere else. He apologized to me. He said he didn't realize how many had been piling up, so there are a lot of people. Yeah. So, do you want to get back to that woman directly and have her call again?
I can look at it.
Or should I send it directly to you? I didn't want to drop the dime on it. I didn't want to really. I'd rather not do it that way because I don't want them.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Jen London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for
So, do you still have that email?
I'll look for it.
They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call a place for mom today.
Bamboo is becoming very popular. Is bamboo plentiful?
It is. Some of it can grow up to a foot a day.
Holy moly.
It's strong.
It's not that strong, is it? Yeah. Makes a good blowgun, but you're not going to build a house out of it.
No, it's flooring.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, bamboo flooring storage.
It's just, it's very durable, easy replaceable. They're coming with all kinds of different stuff for bamboo.
Huh. Can you eat it?
So they have a CIA division.
Can you?
So I think Mark, they have a CIA division
For what?
geeks. who do nothing but try to hack into our enemies' computers.
Oh, yeah, of course.
They're cyber spies. Isn't that cool?
They all have them. Over in, what was the one in, they busted a place in China a couple of years ago. That was, I can't think of it. They had a whole floor, but they broke into some of our stuff. It was crazy, though, when they described the place. How about that Homeland, where they have these people managing thousands of Facebook and Google accounts with backgrounds and everything, and it's all fake just to push out the agenda. Tell me that's not real. That shit's real. Someone's doing that.
That's such a good series. When does the new season start? Wait, it started.
Yeah, I saw, was it the finale I watched yesterday?
Finale of what?
Homeland.
No, I haven't seen it.
I think the finale was, season finale was Sunday.
You know what series I used to love was the 24 with Kiefer Sutherland.
I never got it. I got the very first season I watched.
They're very good. They're good shows.
They were weird because it was so quick. Usually shows are days, weeks, months, years.
Well, it's 24 episodes, Mark.
Yeah.
Each episode's an hour in real time, which is incredible.
So you're watching on Netflix or something?
See, I watched it back when it was on, but then just recently I got into watching the ones I hadn't seen, and I love them.
So I stay up all night because I can't.
I love creativity. I love good stories. I mean, it helps me express myself on the air. It helps me be a good writer. And when I listen and read, I get great ideas. Even fiction. I mean, just like watching drama. When I approach a story, it helps me formulate more creatively. I copy ideas. It's just, to me, it's such a great outlet. If it's a good story, I hate mindless comedies and shit and vulgar stuff.
But some of them are so good.
I mean, yeah.
Look at the personalities.
I love comedy. I hate mindless stuff. I hate these half-hour bull.
You were saying you just like the one with the little fat kid. That's about as mindless as it gets. The Korean guy that came out last Christmas.
I love that movie.
That's mindless crap if I've ever seen it.
Totally funny.
It's hilarious.
But I wouldn't watch like a half-hour sitcom every day.
Oh, how about, did you like Dumb and Dumber?
No, I hate that.
Oh, God, that movie's so funny.
The first one is.
Oh, the first one's it.
I love Jim Carrey.
Now, Tom Martino, the Troubleshooter.
Help me if you can, I'm feeling Hi, I'm Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. Man, did you miss an action-packed hour if you're just tuning in. Talking about cyber kidnapping, basically. Taking your computer hostage and holding it there until you pay a fine. People all over the country are being attacked. People are paying ransom all over the country. There are cyber experts out there, security experts trying to combat this. It is a major problem going on in the cyber world, in our world, in your world, because you have a computer. We all do. And if you use it to run your business, oh my goodness, they can really, really do harm. So we're going to move on to other topics. Questions, complaints, 303-713-TALK. Mark Szymanski's with us from Genesis Total Exteriors. He does interiors and exteriors. A host of, well, basically anything you can think of around the house. I mean, what do you not do, Mark? Just say what you don't do.
We don't put a shovel in the dirt. So I'm not going to put a new foundation in. I'm not going to put an addition
But you will, well, hold on now.
Well,
you will renovate, though.
Yes, I renovate. Yes.
Do you do pop tops?
We've done one. I mean.
But you're not turned on by them.
No.
So you just do existing structures you improve. You do fencing.
Yep.
All that. But you don't do new construction of any kind.
Right. I'm not going to build a new home or anything like that.
What do you love doing?
Well, you know, to me, I mean, I do like the exterior because things are quick. The return is nice. And, you know, I mean, people, you can really change the look of a person's home.
Like I say, siding, windows, gutters, painting, fences, decks.
Roofing, yeah.
Roofing, okay.
Yep.
I mean, we have we have custom wall designs with us. Now, they work Denver Metro and Colorado Springs. And we have Julie and King. And, Julie, you've been around how long?
I've been around
Denver,
this area,
Colorado?
this area since 03.
03, you guys started around Colorado. You were in California before that?
Yes, yes. I've been in the business for a little over 20
Custom
years.
walls. I mean, I guess I never think of it, but it is a business. I mean, faux finishes became a giant business when? in the 90s?
Oh,
60s.
Even
before that? No. Those faux. You know the first time. You know the faux where they look like the trowel plaster. That was what you started seeing, and then everybody had it. And
like
all that.
wax paper.
And those they used to put that paper on it, or they gave a hand troweled finish, and then those heavy textures that southwestern or that look, and then they call it Tuscan or they call it whatever they want to call it, but it's all the same. I got tired of looking at that crap. I got tired of it.
Interesting thing is that,
and this is King. Go ahead.
There's been such a revolution technologically speaking in terms of what we'll use the term faux finisher. We hardly ever even use that term.
Oh, no, I know.
It's so passé, but technologically, the materials and applications have grown exponentially to where nobody even remembers bagging and ragging.
But is plaster still plaster?
Well, no, it's not really. We use plaster to a certain extent, but as I mentioned, these proprietary materials are thin and unbelievably applicable with the right instruction. Julie, for instance, has attended even innumerable seminars with regards to actually how to apply some of these non-FYI
I got some simple questions. What's trending and what is timeless? First of all, for some reason, Julie, I don't know why, but you seem like you're hip to fashion. You're not. I'm not saying that you're dressed particularly fashionista, but you seem to have a handle on that when I talk to you. I just feel that. I just feel that way. The way you're put together. Me too. Where your husband, I would say, is a little loose. But so you're neat. You're neat and elegant. That's the look.
Thank you.
You're all right, King. But I'm saying, Julie, I'm going to go to you for the fashion. What's trending? Seriously, what's timeless? First of all, I want to know that. What's timeless?
Well, what's timeless, I think, is really that. I know you're tired of hearing the word Tuscan, but the old world look is timeless.
And you're saying you could even have that look and furnish otherwise.
Absolutely, you can
mix.
That's right. You can keep your old world look. I mean, think about castles. Think about manors and mansions in Europe. They don't change the interior of their house.
So those old world looks are timeless.
They are timeless.
But what about those heavy textures? Are they still in?
I would say not so much. These rough skip trowels are beautiful, and they are still doing those, but they are smoother, a little softer. Then myself as a finisher, I'll come in and add some color to that, whether it be a metallic or a soft glaze, something to make them less harsh. But most of my finishes are very thin plasters. As far as what's contemporary, what's in now, are very slick looks, contemporary looks. I've even recently done columns in silver leaf, aluminum leaf, where you get that incredible metallic sheen. But again, if your styles personally change, you can keep your wall and change your furniture if you want to update.
So you call custom wall finishes, but I assume you do ceilings.
Oh, ceilings are big.
They're big.
Yeah, thank you for asking that.
What's big in the ceiling?
As much design as possible.
Really? In the ceiling? Color-wise too?
Absolutely.
Not just plain white anymore?
Oh, heavens no.
No.
No, we call it the fifth wall. People forget the ceiling, and so you have this beautiful home with your furnishings and gorgeous wall finishes, and then you have your white wall, your white ceiling. That's kind of ridiculous. It's like, well, who forgot the ceiling? So we go up there, we can do all over the designs, completely all over the ceiling, or just a masking pattern to enhance your chandelier.
Now, when building, of course, this is not where you get involved until afterwards, but I've noticed, Mark, that almost every ceiling of any magnitude, they're coffered. They have different levels in the ceiling.
You're seeing that a lot more.
A lot
Not
more. Just a flat ceiling.
Yep. And you're seeing it in commercial as well as residential.
All right, so any questions you have on design or improvements or renovation, we're going to get back to these guys on and off throughout the show. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. So we found out what's timeless. Coming up, we're going to find out what's trending, and maybe you have some opinions as well. Let's talk to Griffin. Griffin, what's going on?
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Good, Griffin. What's going on?
Hey, so I used to work for Autolab.
Yeah, what is Autolab?
All right, so Autolab, you had a call from a guy that had a Mitsubishi Lancer. He called in to say, hey, they said they rebuilt my transmission for $3,200. you guys got on the phone with Wiley. Wiley said, "Oh yeah, we just opened it up, replaced it."
I remember that. Remember, we talked about that after the show.
And then he claimed that's what rebuilding is anything. Like anything's rebuilding.
He goes, technically, if I opened it up, I rebuilt it.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
He confused reassembly with rebuilding.
He got a little confused, I guess.
Well, what about him?
So I was working there. I gave them 2 weeks notice. Worked my last 2 weeks. Stayed an hour late on my last day. Picked up my paycheck and went to go cash it at their bank. Bank said, "We can't cash it. You have to talk to your employer." I immediately called the owner. His name is Jason Colson. I'm happy to give you his cell. And I'm assuming he's blocked me. Because
so what happened? He just won't pay you?
So I tried to cash the check twice.
How long did you work for him?
Not long. Couple months.
Is it a problem with everybody, or did he just cancel yours?
No, so another guy that
No,
quit
that's a good question Mark had. Answer Mark's question.
Right. So you're asking if there's a problem with everybody or just mine?
Right.
Question. So another guy that just quit had a problem with his paycheck as well.
But what about the people working there regularly? Is he paying them?
So I believe that, I want to say sometimes, yes. I had a check previously when I was working there that bounced, and they gave me
I understand. So you can't get through to him?
That's correct.
So you want us to just try to get your pay. How much does he owe you?
So he's trying to screw me over on the pay in the automotive industry.
What do you mean by that? What is he saying? What is he claiming? That you didn't work, he doesn't owe you? Just give me his... Right. What are we going to hear from this guy?
I can't get a hold of him, so I don't know what he's going to say.
Okay.
I know that I worked more hours than what I got paid for, and that's not the point. What my point is that I want to let other techs know and other people know.
Sure.
Don't take your car there. Don't go work for this guy. He's a great talker. He'll promise you the moon. But I come from a wealthy family, so I don't need the money that bad. The point is that I do have 2 kids to feed, and the guy chose not to even take my call and say, "Hey, this is what's going on."
That sucks.
And he's doing that to the other guy that quit. He has a little girl to feed as well, and his check bounced. And then he said that he eventually got paid. I guess he went down there and raised.
Now listen, Griffin, are you a mechanic?
Yeah, I've actually interviewed with Al Ramos before, and he's
I'm going to tell you, Griffin, I was going to say these guys are dying for tech, so if you don't have a job...
No, it's Tom, Al Ramos seems great, and he's offered me a job before, but I found a great place, so... Okay.
Well, we have a bunch of great shops on our list, and every one of them is looking for techs all the time.
Right, and if something happens, I'll be sure to check them out.
Yeah, okay, so listen, so you got a job, you just want to get paid. I don't blame you. Hold on. Give the numbers to Suzanne. We'll try to get him on. What was that guy's name?
So his name is Jason Colson, but I also want to say he owns Colorado Motive, a used car lot next door, and they're selling junk cars there as well. So just stay away from him, man. You put me on with Suzanne. I'm happy to get.
Okay, give us the numbers. We'll try to call for you. Tell us how much you're owed, and listen. By the way, Griffin, they don't take that lightly. If you file a small claims and then go to the Labor Department,
I'd call the Labor Board regardless now.
Yeah, call the Labor Board.
Get them on the radar.
They absolutely do not fool around. All right, 303-713-TALK, 713-8255.
He might be able to get 3 times.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And you can get treble damages if they don't pay. The process is on the website at the Labor Department. And I want to tell you about One Clear Choice Garage Doors. If you have a garage door problem, One Clear Choice. And it's oneclearchoicedoors.com, 303-565-6409. By the way, a LiftMaster right now, fully installed. The old one taken out, hauled away, $299. And that's from a great company, oneclearchoicedoors.com, 303-565-6409.
This report is brought to you by Carrabba's Italian Grill.
Rescue vehicles are on the scene of a crash involving several vehicles northbound I-25 at 84th, right underneath the bridge there. The right lane is blocked back.
There's treble damages for bad checks, and there's treble damages for pay. And also for security deposits that are unjustly withheld.
Right. I think you picked him as a bad guy.
Who?
You did when he called up.
Which guy? Transmission dude. Oh yeah,
that guy. Well, so did you, Tom.
He could have said.
The whole thing about rebuilding.
He literally said, "Well, technically, when I crack the case open, it's rebuilding."
If I put a new gasket in, that's rebuilding.
So Wells Fargo is in big trouble again, or not again, but they are.
That lady,
No, the CEO.
I can't. What did she get that year? She got $110 million. For
And what were they
bonus,
doing?
1
They
year's
were
worth.
they were opening up. What was this thing about false accounts?
Oh, that was opening up extra accounts. I got a loan there, and they go, oh, we're going to get you lower interest rate if you open a savings account and a checking account along with that loan.
But what was the purpose of them
Because it
opening
looked
phony
good
accounts?
to taxpayers, like, oh, you know, we're
Yeah,
getting
but-
more accounts, so we're
But they
growing.
go by assets.
Fees. So they would sell a credit card, for example. They'd sign you up for a credit card without even you knowing it. And then each year, out of your checking account, $69 would be taken for the fee for that credit card. Times everything else.
Was that from the top down? They actually condoned that?
Well, I don't know if they're going to argue they didn't condone it, but everybody was bonused off those products they were giving away for free. For every credit card you sold, you got X amount.
Mark, you're saying the lady got the 110 million?
Yeah, she was one of the officers. She's the one that got this huge bonus. She was running that whole program, like 110 million. Now she has to give, what, 69 of it back.
Oh, that's too bad.
I know.
Well, Sherry spent it.
No, he's true.
I was taxed on
I bought a G, where are they now? The G10, G4, what are the jets? G something.
That's right.
G8?
I got plenty of them.
What did Trump say his plane was worth? Shit, that's a $100 million plane, right? You can spend $69 million. Did you ever see the movie Brewster's Millions?
Yeah, a long time ago, though.
He had to spend...
Oh, yeah, he spent 30 million.
He had to spend it, though, in 30 days with nothing to show for it.
Right.
At all.
And then you get 300 million if you do.
And then you get threat. That's exactly right. But it was in the 70s.
Is that Richard Pryor?
Yep. So he rented the New York Yankees in the stadium and played, or the Cubs or someone. But he couldn't have anything to show for it.
Should have bought 100 Tomahawks and sent them off.
Hey, that's pretty smart, actually. That's right.
That's right. That was another mindless movie that some people don't like.
I love that movie.
No, it was funny.
What's the one where Eddie Murphy, Trading Places?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
You ever seen those two guys would pop up in other movies with Eddie Murphy?
Yep.
They would just be like in the background sometimes.
The old guys.
Yeah.
Pardon me, Tom, did you want me to call that employer auto lab?
Yeah, see where his money is. I like to rob that guy anyway. He's a jerk. Jason.
And we still
He's spending it on transmission parts.
on the rebuilds.
Yeah, our office has, I love the texture in our office and the colors. Whoever did it, the paint is like 8 different colors and the texture is cool as hell. I love it. The only thing is I look at it and I go, oh my God, how would you possibly ever touch this up? Because it's one big design.
That is a bit of a problem, depending on how they did that and how textured it is. Sometimes
Oh, the textures. It's definitely, it feels to me like a wax paper.
But it's not nubby or crusty or anything. It's more smooth.
I don't know what you mean by that.
If it's a crusty, like a layered plaster look, you can repair.
I'm almost positive it's wax paper, literally wax paper. Because one part is coming off and I can feel it. And I'm like, how the hell would I ever fix this?
It's hard.
And even if you fix the wax paper, it's such a... I just got to be careful not to make it bigger.
That's right.
Even if you could fix the wax paper, I don't know how you would blend in the paint for where you fixed it.
We got to take a look at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want popcorn?
I love popcorn ceilings.
Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome. 303-713-TALK, 303-713-8255. Let's talk. We have some guests with us today. Custom wall designs on the referral list, referrallist.com. If you go to Facebook, they have a Facebook, and then you just backslash and put in, or forward slash and put in wall finishes. You know how you do on Facebook.com, and then the slash and wall finishes. Which, by the way, is amazing that they got that for Facebook, because that's pretty unique. And then, what is ours, Mark, when you backslash on Facebook? What is it, Facebook?
I think it's referral list.
Is it referral list?
I gotta look it up.
Now we're going to be
Since we started doing YouTube, I've been watching on YouTube.
Ah, you can watch either place. So you got to follow up. Okay, so Griffin, you still there, Griff? Griff?
What's going on?
Yeah, hold on. Go ahead, Suzanne. You called his employer?
Yeah, I sure did. I spoke with Jason, the owner. And first he didn't know who you were, Griffin. Then he spoke with Daryl.
He didn't know. He didn't know. Now, what an insult.
Yeah, and then so Griffin, basically what Jason said is to call the shop, talk to Daryl. They don't treat their employees that way. They'll get you paid. He thought you changed bank accounts, and maybe that's why there's a problem.
That's why there was a problem cashing it at their bank. That makes a lot of sense.
That's a good point.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, he passes the buck like that. Daryl, I spoke with before.
Who? What? Where? What guy? What check? Huh?
Well, they know we're on to him now.
Hold on.
What?
So, hey, I spoke with Daryl before when it didn't cash before, and he said, "Hold on, son. And he said, "Hey, can you wait till tomorrow?" And I said, "Sure." And I called back the next day. He said, "Oh, well, can you wait another day?" I said, "Sure. I understand things happen." And so they kept pushing it off. Like I said, the main thing is that word gets out. That's unacceptable.
But we're going to get you paid, though.
I'll call in. I'll call them.
We'll get you paid. Now, who are you with? Your children?
Yeah, I run a night crew for used cars at Medbed in Castle Rock. So
who are your children? Who are your children that were making noise there?
That's Eastwood, like Clint Eastwood.
That's his name?
Yeah, his name's Griffin Eastwood Ash.
That's a cool name, man. That's a cool name. I love that name. Griffin Eastwood.
My kid's middle
sounds like
name
a movie
is Kramer.
star. Oh, yeah? Really?
From Kramer on Seinfeld.
Now, Griffin, what's your other child's name?
My other child's name is Denver.
Denver? Oh, cool. Yeah. This guy's got it going with the names. I thought I was different with Dulce, but that's a cool name, I think. Anyway, 303-713-TALK. Wanda, what's happening with you? Hello, Wanda.
Hello.
And thank you for holding to tell us this. What's going on?
Well, I called Compass Insurance because Farmers Insurance lied to me. You only lied to me one time, and that's the end of our
Okay, so how did they lie to you?
Well, they told me if I changed my deductible, my insurance would go down $300 a year.
Yeah.
And then they sent me another bill, and it was the exact same bill. So I said, the heck with you, and I called Compass Insurance, and between my home and my auto, they saved me $600 a year.
Wow. That is so cool, Wanda, that you would let us $600 a year.
I bet you got more insurance.
You probably got better coverage, too, Wanda.
Probably. I got a lower deductible because Farmers wanted to give me $2,500 deductible, and Compass Insurance got me $1,000 deductible.
Who'd they put you with? Safeco? Do you remember who?
Nationwide.
Okay, now here's what I want to say, Wanda. Thank you. Okay, I want to say that. And then I want to say that it doesn't matter who the carrier is. They're all basically the same, except for the top 5 worst. They're all the same, meaning no matter who you're with, you have to constantly watchdog it and change every now and then. And Compass has this system where they shop your insurance if it goes up by a certain amount, or automatically every 3 years, and they look around and keep you in the lowest rates possible. That's what they do. Now, they represent like 25 companies. Now, you get these captive agents, and there's nothing they can do. It just so happens that the companies who use captive agents are the worst companies when it comes to customer service and when it comes to just everything. They're the worst. Rates, customer service, they're the worst. You know what they are? Who are the top 5? I want to know if you're paying attention, Mark.
By far.
Go ahead, now go ahead.
The worst is a general.
No. That's not one of the top 5 bad ones. You might say they're bad, but that's not the top 5.
Oh, you mean State Farm.
Okay, hold on. You name one. Deputy Dan. You name 2. State Farm and Farmers. Now, hold on.
Allstate.
Mark, I want Deputy Dan to take part. State Farm, Farmers, Allstate, and now you go, Dan. What?
American Family.
American Family, you're right. Allstate is right. And what's the other one? There's 1, 2, 3. American Family, and what's the other one? Fred Loya. The top 5 bad ones.
Geez, I say the general ranks right up there.
Well, they might be bad, Mark. You know what? We don't get complaints about them.
Oh, my God.
Mark, we don't.
Oh, Suzanne, who do we get more complaints than any other insurance company?
Fred Loya?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Now,
damn,
I did hear once in a while the general, but I don't hear that much
Oh, no, you know what? I'm sorry. Believe it or not, you're right. I totally screwed that up. I meant Fred Loya.
Do we get lunch, Tom?
He never admits.
No, I really did. I was thinking Fred Loya. I said the general.
Oh, okay. That's what you were thinking. Mark?
Because I always think he's a boxer, but he does the commercials with the boxers.
Yes, Tom.
How do you live with him? Seriously. Honest to God.
I make it real easy.
Oh, no. 303-713-8255. Derek has a question about security, cybersecurity. Go ahead, Derek. What's happening?
Hey, good morning, Tom. Just curious, the ransomware, if a computer is infected on your office network, can that go out to other computers on your network and infect those as well?
Oh, yeah. Yes, if it's on the... Oh, wait. I thought you meant with the server. That's a good question. Mark, can it... Now, he's not talking about a server. He's talking about a connection. That's
actually, your in-house network, so if you have...
No, I know what you mean, but but not a server type thing. It's just peer-to-peer. You're talking on a peer-to-peer network.
A lot of times what will happen is those same people will be other people's contacts, and they'll have the opportunity to open it up on the other PCs.
Let's see.
But I don't think it jumps.
Suzanne, I don't mean jumps, but they're connected, Mark. They're connected. They're not jumping. So find out, Suzanne, from one of our people, if you're on an office network, we're not talking about a server now. We're talking about where all the computers are networked. Can they get infected by each other by the sheer nature of being connected? Get them on the phone. Let's ask them that question. That is a good question. I don't know. But, Mark, you're right. It doesn't just jump unless you... But if you and I were connected, I don't know. I mean, if it's on my computer...
I think you still have to open it up on that machine, but I don't know.
We'll see.
I mean, this happened at my office.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
What happened? The crypto ransom?
Okay. Well, no, not quite this level. So that somebody said, oh, you have to pay us, and it was only $20.
This is Mark Szymanski at Genesis.
So it was on
Security.
one laptop, and then we have a computer store right
Did you
next to
pay?
us. We paid the $20, and then we got the guys next door. They came and they isolated all those programs and deleted them. And so I was done within a half hour.
So it didn't hit the other machines?
No, and again, but as soon as we knew this was going on, we shut everything off, including our phones.
It's scary, guys.
I think you have to execute it on each.
I think you're right, Mark. But we were proactive.
Scary.
So
it's a scary world, don't you think? All right, so let's custom wall designs on a referral list. They're here today as a guest. You guys do everything on a computer, right? You have all your images, everything, right?
Oh, yeah.
Could you imagine?
We're technically up to speed.
Could you imagine if you were one day couldn't have access to it?
I don't want to imagine that.
No, I mean it. I mean, so do you guys do anything? I mean, do you have any security things in place?
Not on the level that we're having this conversation.
No, I don't. We do naturally because of how we...
As Mark has mentioned, we stay absolutely current on all of our operating systems. We don't open weird-looking emails or suspicious transmissions of any kind, and that's about all we do at this point.
If you're up to date, I still contend that it's very hard unless you execute it. And I'm saying Windows 10 is going to warn you, hey, you better watch it if you want to open this file.
Now, we're all Mac-based,
Mark,
so I guess that's...
Oh, well,
Mac,
you know what?
No,
there goes that.
Mac alone helps. It really, really, really does.
It helps you slow down.
No, it really does. It helps you tremendously on that part because I'm all Mac. The thing is Mark, you are in charge of this, so I don't even know. We do some stuff, right? I mean, we have a lot of good redundancy, right? How do we prevent this kind of stuff, though?
We just keep up to date. I mean, Mike, our IT guy, keeps all the software up to date.
But we also have security stuff.
Well, yeah, but once again, I mean, mostly Windows 10, at least the professional models, have all this built in. And the newest Microsoft servers.
Well, I'm not talking about our office so much as I am our server, our big server.
Yeah.
Doesn't Microsoft take care of that?
Yeah, to give you an idea, you can't even get into it.
Right. So what's the deal with the backups, though? Isn't it true that a backup can be infected as well?
Yeah, we run a RAID array, so we have multiple backups. We have a backup if one hard drive breaks. You don't even got to turn the thing off. It still runs. And then if everything blows up, if you will, we have an off-premises backup. That one's going to be a little older, but it's still pretty good. And then our website, referral list, and everything else, we have multiple hard drives that run that, multiple servers, and then we also have a different on-site that could be located anywhere.
So, here's the deal. I think if most people, if they have their server with a professional company, like I wouldn't recommend necessarily any one of them, but don't
That's what Mike does for us.
Yeah, I know that. But like, if, for example, if a small company wants to have an off-premises server, anybody can have a virtual server now, right? It's not expensive.
No, it's not expensive, but you got to know what you're doing. I mean, generally, you're building this server from a computer somewhere, a workstation. I mean, our virtual server is, for the lack of better words, it's a real server, and it's just sitting in the cloud somewhere.
Well, can any size business scale a server to their needs?
Yeah, see, but we build it. So when we rent a Microsoft Azure server, which we do, we literally build it. We install the operating system. We build this server remotely.
They just give you the rack
I
space.
pick out how much RAM I want, what kind of hard drives I want.
Oh, I see.
Boom.
So they just store it for us, basically.
They create a server, yes.
With our specs.
With our specs, and then we say what operating system we want. Then I installed like cPanel to run the websites.
But aren't there easier ways?
And blah,
aren't there easier ways to do it for a small business? Can't they simply go on and rent a server somewhere and then that place takes care of everything, right?
Yeah, it's not that easy, but yes, they could. Generally, you would go through someone to do that.
Mike.
Like Mike, yeah.
You would have, each company would have an IT guy that they can hire, you know what I mean, like a contract.
Yeah, and Mike, so, I mean, honestly, if you think about it, if you're a PC with 5 PCs and a server, I mean, Mike's less than $500 a month, and that covers everything.
All right, we got more coming up.
You know, it's tough, man. It's tough line business.
It's crazy, though, on the cloud. Let me tell you this. I just found this out the other day. So, our website server is a 120 gigabyte hard drive, okay? When I do 120 gigabyte, yeah.
That's not big.
Well, we have probably about 40 gigs of data, so it's what we need right now. When I need a bigger one, I get a bigger one.
You're right. We're not storing shit on there. You're right.
Yeah, so, but here's what's wild. So, the 120 gig, when you do a full copy of it, even though only 30 gig is used, it's still copying 120 gig because it's sector per sector. Does that make sense to you? It's empty space, but it's real space.
It's got to copy the sectors.
Correct. So if I do it from a hard drive that I have at my house, that's the exact same thing, one to another with software I have, it takes probably 3 hours.
Right.
When I do it from one cloud on Azure to another cloud, in case that server blows up, which would be catastrophic, it'll probably never happen, to another cloud in Seattle compared to New York. You ready for this?
Now, this is through a pipe you're doing.
This is all in the cloud. I'm not, it's nothing physical.
But the two clouds are not in the same building.
They're not in the same, that's exactly right. They're not on the same machine.
Right.
Nor in the same building.
Right. How long?
1 second.
Wow, 128 gigs?
120 gigs.
Wait a minute.
1 second. As soon as I hit paste, it goes.
Is it truly backing up, or is it just image?
It creates an exact image, a photograph, an exact image of that hard drive.
Right, but then
in 1 second.
So it creates the image in a second, but then it transfers the data.
I think it literally is transferring the data that quick because it says complete. I think it literally is transferring it. So then what I do, here's how I do our backups, just so you know. So I create one on another cloud because it's instantaneous.
So you have to do it. It's not automatic or backups.
I can do it whenever I want, or I can tell it to do it. Okay. It doesn't matter. I can do both. So we have one that runs automatic and then one I tell to do it. In case we got something like crypto, I got one sitting off base in case the automatic one gets crypto too. You follow what I'm saying?
Right, I understand.
So, but here, like I said, 1 second.
In other words, we're bound to have a recent copy without the virus.
But then I take Azure's that we just copied somewhere else and I download it. And I download it.
Where do you keep that to?
On our server down there.
Oh my God.
3 hours. Because I could copy over that hard drive. This part's the incredible part. I could copy that downloaded 120 gig right over to one of the hard drives on our server, repoint the DNS to that server in the office, and referral list would be up if Azure disappeared, which, once again, is never going to happen. Isn't that freaking crazy? Or if someone took all our passwords and wiped out our virtual server, I still would have something we could light up and relight up everywhere. I say me. I mean, Mike designed the whole thing, but he shows me how to do different stuff I want to do. It's crazy, though. 1 second. I'll show you next time I do it downstairs.
I heard you talking to Mikey about it, and he was saying that So if you're interested, it's because I don't remember, he tried to give an explanation.
Well, he was saying here's what he says, because that cloud is made up of, thousands upon thousands of hard drives. So when you save one thing in a cloud, you're not really saving it all to one drive.
No.
You're saving it to 1,000 drives.
Whatever, so.
And then that one place knows to grab it from those 1,000.
I understand. It's right. I know.
It's basically a ginormous RAID array.
Well, that's the way hard drives work anyway. They don't put files in sequentially.
No, but now you're talking on different hard drives.
Yeah, that's right. But in essence, that's how all digital works. Digital is just an assembly of information.
Until you go through and compress it and tell it to go to the
In fact, do you know how compression software works? Compression software works on a big hard drive, like if you have the word love, you only need that E once. And then, because that E appears in different words, so it simply has one E. It has one alphabet, and then every file grabs its version of that alphabet. That's really what, so the files are simply instructions.
Or better yet, the word love might be represented by a 1-4. So 1-4 could be love in a book. So instead of having 4 characters, you only have 2 at this point.
But whatever it is, whatever characters are in common, they're never repeated.
And then on the other side, basically it says, okay, if I see 1-4, that's love.
So there was another thing that I loved in there was a mathematical movie, a movie with math geniuses. Was it Pi or something? They said that every sequence in the world follows the decimal point. It was, I got to find out, but it's
the Matrix.
Every single this one number, if you follow the decimal, and it's in this library, has every sequence.
That's a newer movie.
In the world.
It shows up everywhere.
Yes.
I just saw that movie. What was it?
I don't know.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter, 303-713-TALK, 303-713-8255. Sound off, give on-air reviews, or get help, whatever you want to do, that's what we do. We have a ball. Brad, what's going on with the VA, Department of, is this Virginia VA?
It's the Virginia Department of Motor Vehicles.
What's going on? What's going on with Virginia? I imagine they're all screwed. We're all screwed with, motor vehicle. It's a department that's fundamentally flawed. So what's going on, Brad?
Yeah, this is pretty frustrating, Tom. So I recently moved to Colorado from Florida, and when I went to get my Colorado driver license, they said that I was flagged by the state of Virginia for needing to prove that I had insurance on a vehicle on the date of February 3rd, 2002.
What? So they're saying you were stopped and did not have insurance on that date?
It's even not exactly. So I moved to Florida from Virginia in the summer of 2001.
Yeah.
Now, I was licensed in Florida for those 15 years, never had an issue at all. There was no traffic violation in Virginia. I have no idea why they want me to prove this. They had no financial interest in the car at that time. It was legally registered and titled, and I was a licensed driver in the state of Florida, but I can't prove this from 15 years ago.
Wait a minute. So you have to prove what? What are they asking you to prove in Virginia?
They want me to prove that on February 3rd, 2002, I had the minimum legal coverage on a 1998 Chevy Suburban. They won't even tell me the VIN. Now, I do know the vehicle they're speaking of, but they won't even tell me the VIN.
Okay, now hold on. Were you in Virginia during that time?
I was living outside of D.C. in Leesburg, Virginia,
okay.
But I was dealing with Richmond.
Were you in an accident?
I was not.
Were you stopped by police?
I was not.
Why did they pick that out at random?
I think it was the end of my initial 6-month, a 6-month period of insurance.
Okay, and so that flagged their computer that you didn't have insurance back then, right?
Correct.
Okay.
They didn't know that I moved to Florida.
No, I understand. You moved to Florida, and supposedly they sent probably a notice out saying, "Send us proof of insurance." Do they do this to Do they do this to everyone who lives in Virginia?
I don't know. As you can imagine, Richmond isn't exactly very cooperative.
No, I understand. But let's analyze this. I mean, it's not a personal attack, so obviously something's going on. I wonder what their computers do, because they have to have way more cases than you. They have open files of people who don't prove insurance. So what I want to ask is, why didn't you get that question in 03 and 04 and 05 onward? Why did you only get it for that year when your insurance expired?
Yeah, I really can't answer that. And the frustrating thing is they want a $500 fine.
How
I'm
long?
on a national list. I can't get a license anywhere in the United States.
Okay, what I mean is, yeah, well, all of the motor vehicle departments coordinate, so you don't skip out on child support and stuff like that. So they all share a database, and they make it difficult for you to register a car or get a license under certain circumstances. So it's very easy to understand. You have an outstanding inquiry, but what I don't understand is, what is the normal procedure for people who move? For example, you can't be the only one who moved out of state and did not renew your insurance. Did you still have a registration active? Were you supposed to? What were you supposed to do to not get this notice?
They're telling me that Richmond told me that at the point at which I relocated to Florida, I should have in some manner notified them of my leaving.
Is that required of every resident, that when they leave?
They claim that, Tom. They claim that.
Well, I'm positive that we can get someone on from public information who can speak for as a public service to say, look, your citizens must be confused. I mean, how do they know that if they have insurance that they have to notify the state? For example, when you live there, do you get a notice every single time insurance expires? Do you have to keep renewing some kind of proof of insurance with Virginia? See, Brad, I would be asking these questions rather than getting frustrated, because if there's a procedure for doing that,
I think he's got a ticket sitting out there that
but it's not
it's driving without insurance.
No,
it's been around forever.
No, he's not talking about a traffic stop. He is saying that in motor vehicle, he had proof of insurance. Now, were you there just 6 months in Virginia?
No, I was there at that time about 5 years.
Okay. During your 5-year period, this is what I want to know. Did you get letters when your insurance expired?
Not that I recall. Again, this is 15 years ago.
So you don't ever recall this happening. So from year to year, how did they know you had insurance?
I would assume that if I did not carry the coverage, then the insurance company...
Here's what it says. Here it is. Here's what Virginia does. What? The Motor Vehicle Code of Virginia, 462706, requires insurance companies authorized or licensed to do business in Virginia to furnish liability insurance basically to the state. When it elapses, the state knows. So then his must have lapsed, or his insurance company said it lapsed, or it was over, or he moved, whatever.
Right. Okay.
And they figured he didn't have insurance.
Right. So did your insurance lapse at that time?
Never had a lapse. As a matter of fact.
So what happened on that day? You said that was probably the end of your 6-month policy?
Yes, sir.
And then what happened?
Nothing. I mean, I was living in Florida. I had never had an issue. I keep, insuring.
No, you had Virginia plates at that time, right?
No, sir. August 3rd, 2001. I was legally titled, registered in Virginia or Florida with Florida plates in August 3rd, 2001. So this is 6 months later.
No, I understand. So do you have proof that you left the state and had that registration?
That's the rub. The Florida Department of Motor Vehicles only maintains records for 5 years.
So
all the insurance companies.
What did Virginia say you could do to get out of it? What did they say?
Pay $500.
But what does that do? Hold on. I just want to analyze this.
Come up. They're giving him and issued him a ticket for not having insurance.
Right.
And he needs to pay it. That's what they're saying.
Well, Mark, he left 6 months before that. So what is the procedure when people move? What is the procedure? For example, if somebody moves out of Virginia, I doubt that every person that moves out of Virginia says, wait a minute, my insurance is expiring in 6 months.
I believe if you're in Colorado, for an example, more than 30 days or intend to stay more than 30 days, you have to re-register your car.
He registered his car in another state.
Well, then that should have done it.
Yeah, but he did it later. He didn't do it right away.
No, he did it 6 months before. He, in August 3rd of 01, he registered his car.
Oh, then he should have approved that then.
6 months later, they send him a letter in Virginia. He's not even living there. So it's not
backwards.
reasonable. I mean, what do they expect when people move out of Virginia? What do they want you to do when you move?
The car's been registered in another state. You have nothing to do with it.
That's right. I don't even understand.
But didn't he say 2002? They're going back 15 years.
Yeah, which is weird.
That's a problem. I mean,
Well, it could have been sitting out there. He's never had any problems. He's been in Florida, just renewing.
But listen, I'm not even questioning that. What I'm questioning is this. It's very logical. If you are living in Virginia, and your insurance is going to expire in 6 months, 8 months, 7 months, whatever, date X, okay? You move away. You bring your family to Colorado, you register your car, and you're living here. Who in their right mind will remember that when their insurance expires, they have to let Virginia know that they now are living in another state? That is the most...
Nothing says that you have to do that, though, on
Well,
there.
yes, because they're saying that when his insurance lapsed, he never showed them proof of new insurance. And the reason he didn't do it is because he's living somewhere else.
Right.
And is there a law that says you have to...
There's something wrong with this whole story, because if his vehicle wasn't registered in Virginia, right?
It was.
It was registered.
Not at the time he got that notice.
No, then that doesn't make sense, because the only way they'd be able to attach the insurance company to that vehicle is if it was registered in the state.
Well, Mark, it was registered. Then he moved.
Okay.
So it's like I moved today. I'm in Colorado and I moved. So I moved to another state and I register my car.
Yep.
Colorado gets a notice that my insurance is expiring because I may get a new insurance there, not even the same one. This insurance company, they sent a notice of lapse. So now Virginia has a notice of lapse, and they contact me. I'm living in a new state, my car's insured, and it's registered.
But wait a second. So I'm thinking here, could I register the same car in 2 states?
It's not registered in 2 states. When you take a car to another state...
But can you register a car in 2 states?
No, you can't.
Then when he registered in Colorado, they must have pulled the registration from that other state.
What do they do?
I don't know.
That's what I don't know. Like they can't assume...
Because I don't think you can take the same VIN number and register it in multi-states.
No, they take... Obviously not. When you register in a state, this is why we need an expert, because Virginia made the mistake. They did not get notified. There's a registry, I'm sure, that when you register a car in Florida, I'm sure Colorado knows, because otherwise you'd have it registered in 2 states, right?
That's right.
So they must notify each other. It certainly doesn't, it's not incumbent upon the consumer to do that.
They must almost pull the VIN number in from the other state.
They must, but they didn't, because Virginia has a record of him being there. I mean, he is a victim of something that's screwed up. Yeah. What I don't understand is, if we knew how the system worked, we would know what the breakdown is.
Well, we know this. The insurance companies, if it's registered in that state,
right,
have to give DMV electronic information on if the policy is lapsed.
So did he keep the same insurance or not? We need to talk. You know, Suzanne, we really need to talk to a public information officer with the Department of Motor Vehicles in Virginia. Not about his case, but about, in general, the procedures for a licensing, registering, insuring, and when you move out of state. I want to know what they say. If they say you're supposed to let us know when you move, that's bullshit. There's no law that says that.
That'd be crazy. That's what makes me think somehow he still had it registered in Virginia.
Well, he did until he got here, until he got to Florida.
And what happens if he sat in Florida for a year and didn't register?
But he did. 8301, he says. He has proof. He was registered and insured in Florida on 8301.
Virginia to drop this.
That alone. Hi, I'm Tom Martino. Don't forget Custom Wall
Designs are with us, and also Genesis Total Exteriors. We'll be back to them in the next hour on some stuff they do. But listen, I want to break this down very simply. If you own a car and you are insured in one state, and then you move to another state and you register it, I believe that all states know that. Otherwise, you would be registered in 2 states. So when you move to another state, he moved away. And he registered his car in another state. I feel sorry for Brad because I know his frustration. He moved away in 8301. He registered in Florida. Is that right, Brad?
Hi, Tom.
Is that right? You registered your whatever it was, your Chevy on August 3rd of 01, right?
Precisely.
In Florida.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you were in Florida at that time, and you never thought, oh, I better call Virginia and let them know.
Exactly.
Because,
and a quick point, there was even another vehicle on this policy that's not in question.
Okay, but here's the deal, Brad. So you moved away from Virginia with Virginia plates and Virginia insurance, for lack of a better word. And when you got, wait a minute, when you got to Florida, you registered it in Florida, right? What insurance did you use? The same insurance company, or did you get new insurance?
I got new insurance, and that company is now out of business and absorbed by the general.
But it doesn't matter. You got new insurance. So at the time that you got this notice from Virginia, wherever they sent it, do you remember getting a notice or not?
No, sir, I do
not. But
even
if you did get a notice, it would say you have to show us proof of insurance, and you're thinking, I'm in Florida now, and I have my car registered. What happened?
All right, listen. Things to do when you move to a new state from Virginia. Notify the Commissioner of Revenue. Otherwise, your vehicle might still accrue personal property taxes. Inform the Department of Motor Vehicles, DMV, for file update purposes.
Now, Tom, what is he supposed to say it again? I'm sorry.
That's all right. He's supposed to basically tell DMV or inform DMV.
What?
With his file number purposes, include the name, customer number, the vehicle title number, and the last 4 digits of the vehicle identification number, all for all of your vehicles. Notify your insurance company of your move and provide a new address. Notify your leasing company if your vehicle's leased. Basically, it's saying you have to notify the Commissioner of Revenue. Otherwise, your vehicle will still incur costs.
Mark, do you believe that everybody that lives in Virginia notifies the state when they move?
No, but good luck getting a new license, apparently, if you don't.
But do you think that is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? Does it say move out of state? What does it say exactly?
Things to do when you move to a new state from Virginia.
So, it says that. So, I want them to show me a law that says that man has to do that.
Remember, when you drive somewhere and get a driver's license, that's not a right we have, as you know.
That doesn't matter.
It's a privilege, and in order to take advantage of that privilege, just like a lot of the DUI laws, you might have to agree to this in the state of Virginia.
But, Mark, I don't think that it's practical. Okay, what happened to his other vehicle? I will guarantee you there are people who move out of that state and register their car all day long and never think to let Virginia know. You're literally supposed to let Virginia know what? That you moved?
Here's exactly what it says. Otherwise, your vehicle might still accrue personal property taxes. Inform DMV with your file number, or for their file number purposes, include your name, customer number, vehicle identification number, last 4 digits of the vehicle ID number of all your vehicles. Notify your insurance company of your move and provide a new address.
Now,
and this is why I registered immediately in Florida.
No, I understand that, Brad. I understand that, Brad. Because here's why, okay? Literally, what you're saying makes sense. And they should have a national computer that keeps track of this. Otherwise, I mean, it's really ridiculous that Virginia requires this. But if truly they do, if truly that was the law, and I can't believe it is, I want to know how many tickets how many fines are they doing around the country from people who move from Virginia? I wish I could talk to someone who moved from Virginia. I would like to get someone on from Virginia Motor Vehicle to literally say that every single person that moves out of state with a car must provide information or they accrue all of the cost. They're not trying to get ownership tax from you, are they?
No, sir.
Why? Why aren't they? Why are they not trying to get all of the other costs from you? There's a reason. Because they screwed up. Their computer should have shown them that you were in another state. That's why you did not get popped for personal insurance. Why would they not try to get... Don't they have ownership tax there?
Yes, and that's why I immediately registered in Florida, because this would have been property tax on a $50,000 Suburban.
Right, and property tax you had paid 5 years before that, right?
I think what happened, though, was when the insurance lapsed or it was canceled or whatever, they notified DMV, hey, this car that apparently is still registered in Florida no longer has insurance from the insurance company. So, therefore, they issued him a ticket for not having an insurance, and it sat there for how many years?
But, Mark, why, first of all, why did they... It's not a ticket. Why did they not charge him property tax? Why didn't all of the costs get
Wait a minute.
assessed?
If it's not a ticket, how do they stop you from getting your license here? Now I'm confused.
It's easy, Mark. They do that all. It's a lien. They do that.
Me to prove insurance, to prove that I have insurance. There's no sanction against me. I haven't violated anything.
There's no law enforcement. I understand that part of it. That's easy. It just shows up as a flag, just like child support does. But here's what I don't understand. If they are claiming that you did not properly notify them, then technically they should have popped you for personal property tax. Why didn't they? Because somewhere their computer told them that car was no longer in Virginia. There is just no logical reason for this.
We got more coming up. We'll come to this.
If you're an active adult and have experienced hit rate,
I'm going to come right out of the gate and tease that to Charles and tell him, and then we'll do it right before the break.
you can do for the pain. Join orthopedic surgeon Dr. Dennis
Says here's from 35 states with automatic registration laws too. In Florida, Virginia, Colorado are all part of that.
But here's what I don't understand. They can't possibly require people to notify them, or they keep accruing costs. It's just, what are computers for?
But I thought he said he was getting a $500 fine, so it was a ticket.
I think it's not a ticket. It's a fine. It's just a fine. Just like if you don't register your car in time, you don't get a ticket.
Yeah, okay.
You get a fine when you go to register.
Short Q&A at the end of the seminar. It's free to attend.
I mean, who would write the ticket? I mean, they don't write a ticket.
No, it's like if your tags are out of date.
If he was stopped, he would have gotten a ticket, but he wasn't there.
This is Denver's talk station. More with Martino.
I just want to talk to a spokesperson. There's got to be a public, some kind of public spokesperson.
See, like in Colorado, moving out of state in Colorado, none of that's here. None of it. Basically, it says when you get to the new state, get a new license.
Just get out of here. Hey, where were you guys in California?
We're up in San Rafael. Okay, north of San Francisco.
Meanwhile, there's word today.
Yep, there's not one thing. Virginia's got a whole different set of stuff. Colorado's, you just leave. That's it, go. Go. And then make sure you register it within the amount of time the new state requires. Nothing about calling your insurance company. Nothing about any of that.
Well, Colorado is one of the automatic ones and stuff. So is Virginia. But like I said, who can prove they had insurance 15 years ago? Nobody.
And now Florida doesn't have the records anymore, so they can't.
Sure. His insurance company went out of business, but I bet you even an insurance company might not have kept the records for 15 years.
Yeah, really.
We will secure.
Yeah, but if you can't, what are you going to do? You pay the $500, get your license and fight it. What, are you going to sit around driving without a license, not driving, not doing anything?
Right. But why does Colorado care? Just as long as you're up to date.
I had we moved out here. Remember, we lived in Oklahoma before here. We moved out here. I got my license. After 5 years or whatever, you got to renew it. So I had to literally go down. And New Jersey, where I grew up and got my driver's license, had a speeding ticket on me from 1987.
They could get you for that?
That they wouldn't renew my license. So I called up New Jersey and I ended up paying, $150, whatever it was, and then I could get my license. But not only that, what killed me was I already got it here. I had it in Oklahoma. It's like everything just caught up all of a sudden.
Well, it probably just got automated.
Or when that tax started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some states, when I was doing research on that, because the last thing I want to do is pay it, some states do like every 4 or 5 years, they'll do this thing where they'll give you like half price if you get it paid or something like that.
I got a photo radar in Iowa on the freeway that can pay.
That can't do it because they.
Oh, it's going to be an extra ticket.
I don't think because of the nature of photo radar they can tag your DMV.
Yeah, I'm holding to that.
Well, my wife just got, because she's switching companies, company car, and that came up, a photo radar came up on her. I said, well, they didn't serve you, so it's not a real ticket. But because she's going to a new company and they want that cleared up, she's got to be up.
The old company wants it cleared up.
No, the new company she's going to work for, they get your driving record, like, oh, you clear this up.
Stick on a record there. Wow.
I see. Clear this up.
Yeah, in Colorado's, man, there's none of the stuff on Virginia's.
Well, it's ridiculous. It says leave.
I mean, nothing. It doesn't say contact insurance company, doesn't say contact DMV, it says nothing.
And this guy didn't get a ticket, actually.
That's what he says. I mean,
$1,000 every weekday from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
That lady got phone calls too, though. That's what he read.
you know what you do? You print out, you go to the general, and you pay the $8. Oh, he doesn't have the VIN number.
Wait it out.
And then you change the date.
on Talk Radio 630 KL.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. 303-713-TALK, 303-713-8255. Man, we've had an exciting show today. It is unbelievable to me what we have covered. First of all, that cybersecurity, unbelievable stuff where people were being hacked and then encrypted, their files blocked. They can't get access to their websites. They were taken hostage, and you have to pay ransom. Absolutely. Then also, we had a guy who... I just don't understand this. In the state of Virginia, when you move out, you're supposed to notify them, or they will fine you when your insurance lapses, or still start accrue costs on your car. He moved away like 20 years ago. I mean, this guy, well, not really, but it's like 13 years ago, 14 years ago. He moves away, and no, it's actually 15 years now. Okay, 15 years ago, they want him to prove that he had insurance in the state of Virginia. He wasn't even living there at the time. He had already registered his car in another state. Listen, when you move and register your car, Motor Vehicles knows it, because otherwise you would be able to register in multiple states. But it doesn't work that way. They don't depend on you to notify the other state. If you move to California, they check to see where that car is registered. If you move to California, they register it in California, but they make sure all the other registrations are canceled. So how is it possible that he moved to Florida and is still being fined for not having insurance in Virginia? They say, tough, pay the fine. I say that's bull crap. There's a reason they're not assessing the ownership tax and the tax on his other cars, because they know he moved. Why are they insisting that his insurance... he be fined for not having insurance in Virginia when he wasn't even living there? It's ridiculous. These are the kinds of things we try to help people with problems, questions, complaints of all kinds. If you have something burning you up or pissing you off, call us. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Mark, do you find it absolutely ridiculous that the state of Virginia is saying because he did not notify them, he has to pay a fine for not having insurance?
I got to tell you, same website, you can look up, it's dmv.org. So basically when it says when you move out of Colorado, here's what it says about Colorado. You do nothing. You go to the new state, you register your car. But when I choose Virginia, I'm telling you, Virginia says notify your insurance company, notify DMV. You got to use your name, your customer number, your VIN number. He didn't follow the rules.
How many people do that when they move out of Virginia? How many people?
I don't know.
How many people truly do that? Yes, Suzanne.
Tom, I have a call into media relations for you.
We need to talk to them about general procedure. I cannot believe that they would expect every single person who moves out of Virginia to notify them.
I just read something else about Virginia.
What?
Did you surrender your license plate?
Brad, did you surrender your license plate?
Yes, sir, to the Florida DMV. I surrendered it to them when I registered it.
Oh, well, okay, you're supposed to do that in Virginia too.
Well, how could he if he's moving? How do you get to another state?
Well, what do you want me to tell you? I didn't make up the rules.
No, but how do you get to another state?
It says here you better surrender your Virginia license plates and vehicle registration to the nearest Virginia DMV.
So then what do? Illegally make it to the next state? This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
I didn't make the rules. I'm reading.
Now, Charles.
This guy sounds like a scofflaw, a law scoff.
It's called a scofflaw.
A scofflaw.
Hey, Charles with Azorian Cybersecurity did us a major favor. This is amazing. We had a woman hacked, her business computer hacked. Well, a married couple. Their business computer encrypted. They could not get access to anything because of crypto ransomware, and it seems the only thing that's going to help them is paying the ransom. They want $1,000 to unlock the computer. Now, this is going on all over the country. Marlene is not the only one. This has happened to police stations, courthouses, governments, hospitals, all over the country, and people end up many times paying the ransom. Now, we talked to Charles at Azorian. He said, I would never pay that fine up front. You need to investigate first. There's a good possibility it can be opened. There's another good possibility that even if you pay, they're not going to unlock it. But at least consult with someone first. We asked him if he would do us a favor and go over there and check out Marlene's computer. I don't know what he found. We're going to find out together.
Let's ask him on that network question, too.
Oh, that's a good question, too. That's right. So, Charles, first I'll ask you that network question before we get to the climax here. So, if computers are networked together peer-to-peer, I'm not talking about sharing a server, but just networked together, if one computer gets a virus or encrypted, will it go to other computers?
Hey, Tom, thanks for having me back. And to answer your question, if the computers are on a network, there is modern malware, modern ransomware that will bounce from system to system. It'll even jump off and go into mobile devices depending on the type of ransomware that we're talking about.
Okay. Do you still have to execute the program on the new machine?
Well, it depends on what you're working with. In the case of like Marlene, it posed as a Windows update. So the information that happened on their machine actually updated their computer or went through and infected that way. There are other ways to do it. It's all going to require that interaction from a user. You're going to have to click something. You're going to have to push something in certain cases. But in other cases, it's all in the background.
Okay, so now, Charles Tyndall, thank you so much for going over there. Azorian Cybersecurity, what did you find?
Well, she happened to be infected with a piece of ransomware that's called Phantom Ransomware. Phantom Ransomware is a spinoff of the old CryptoLocker ransomware that we heard about in 2016. Because it's old, there are steps online available to users to be able to roll back not only for your backups, but if your backups don't work, if you can't run through backups, there's even a decryption tool that was put out by, let me make sure I've got it right, was put out by, I think it's Kaspersky, put out a tool that you can go out, Google your ransomware, to Google the extension of your ransomware and see if you're available for a decryption tool that's out there online. What happened? They broke the encryption. They posted the keys online. There's a graphical user interface tool. There's some command line tools that you can use. They've got access to it. I sent them a link for it, and they're going to run through it with their IT guy and see what we get.
Wow, so it's possible that you, not me, not we, you help them. It's possible, we're going to see, that they have found a way to get through it.
Hey, is that normal to pose as a Windows update? I've never heard of that.
Oh, yeah. They'll pose as a Windows update. They'll pose as a software update.
I mean, does it come in just like a real Windows update?
It doesn't come in like a real one.
Oh, okay.
But how would you know?
Oh, because she fell for something, right?
Well, it does have the splash screen of a normal Windows update. Like if you go out online, and maybe I'll send Susan over the link too, and make sure it's all sanitized for her.
Good. I want to link. Yeah.
It looks just like a Windows update for 7, 8, or 10. It looks just like a Windows update.
So how do we, as consumers, protect ourselves, Charles?
Well, first, if it doesn't seem right,
well,
don't do it.
Okay, but if it pops up and says there's a critical update or a Windows update, is there something I can see on that update?
But on Windows 10, they don't pop up like that anymore. Well, they load in a certain place.
But, Mark, my mother wouldn't know that.
Well, your mother shouldn't be on a computer.
Well, God rest her soul, as we say in the business. But but really, what do people do, Mark? I mean, they don't know that there are no updates. So what happens when an update pops up? How do we know on any piece of software?
Like the one they got. Did it pop, if she said go ahead and install, did Windows, she didn't have Windows 10. If it was Windows 10, would Windows 10 would have warned her, hey, don't do this?
It may have warned her, but here's the problem. A lot of, like I said, the software that these guys are creating, the malicious hackers out there are creating software specifically designed to emulate and avoid and bypass all of those types of detections. Every time a new piece of detection comes out, there's going to be a new way around it. There are entire hacker markets, or the bad hacker markets, where you can get these things that are called cryptors, that are specifically, they have built-in features to bypass antivirus, to bypass malware, to bypass the common ones like Windows Defender and all the other stuff. And those things are really, really, really hard to nail down. The only real way you're going to be able to completely protect yourself from using any of these things is having a viable and regular backup solution. And that, if that means that you're backing up to the cloud, if that means you're backing up to your own extra external hard drive, wherever it is, you have to have an active backup. We've gotten to the point now where it's not just your computers, but it's your mobile devices and even your TVs, depending on what you're getting.
Tom, you know what's amazing is he went over there, he looked at it. There's a possibility he can fix it. But the guy, their IT guy that told him they were screwed, if I recalled, is now going to look at it. I don't know what they're doing. If they want their data back, why didn't they have this guy fix it or at least look at it? Caller.
Well, in most cases, the IT guy isn't thinking like a hacker.
Shame on
him. The IT guy is thinking like an IT guy.
Right.
And you can't really place blame on the IT guy because their job is to keep it running. Their job is to get
I think you missed my total point there is why didn't they have you do it? This guy didn't know it to begin with. Now because you send him a link to something,
he could
figure everything out?
No, he could figure that out, Mark, because it gives you instructions. I mean, the guy is in IT. I mean, really, that's the way to do it. But Charles, make no mistake, if people do call your company and want assistance from A to Z, you'll do it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. He just wanted to make this quick and easy for
What
them,
would you generally have charged to fix that if it was fixable the way you described?
Yeah, what would a call like that cost?
We charge by the hour, and it usually depends on our client. We're going to charge either $150 to $350 an hour, depending on the call and depending on the scale of your network.
Okay, that's fair. And thank you very much. And again, if you want to get a hold of Azorian Cybersecurity, well, you can Google Azorian. That's what I did to get him back on, Azorian Cybersecurity. They're out of Denver, or 303-872-0115. 303-872-0115. Thank you for short notice getting on the phone.
I still want to know the end game. Did they get the data back or did they pay?
We're going to figure it out. It's an amazing story. Okay, we have custom wall designs. We've been talking about what's timeless. Those rich, beautiful, old world styles are timeless regardless of what kind of stuff you accent with and furnish. We've also been talking about home improvements. And we have Genesis Total Exteriors. Now, with custom wall designs, a quick question. I asked you what was timeless. I'm going to ask you now, what do you think is trending now? Or what is trending now? What is popular?
I'd say what's popular are contemporary looks, very slick, clean, minimalistic
shiny
looks. Shiny,
sometimes.
Yes, of course. Yes, shiny.
I noticed on some of the
garish.
countertops. Some of the countertops look absolutely beautiful, but they're plain and shiny, and they're not that marbled or they're not that granite look necessarily.
They're much cleaner looks. Clean, minimalistic.
So on the walls, how would that translate for you?
That would translate to me, there's a number of materials that I use that could cover that. One of them is called luster stone. It's traditionally troweled on. However, you can apply that in a more creative way, give you a more contemporary look, and that is really the artistic moves of the person that's applying it.
What colors go right now? Everything or what?
Soft silvers, soft powdery blues, neutrals, things that are very calm in that way.
Those are popular right now.
Is the average house you work on, I mean, it must be typically $1 million plus home. Is that correct or not correct?
Not necessarily, no, not at all.
But it is upscale. It's not it's not necessarily for a track home.
True.
Okay.
True. It is a bit of a pricey endeavor for the most part, but there are many types of finishes that can accommodate any price.
Do you do it by the square foot?
Typically, no. It depends on
by the job.
By the job, yes, by the job. There's so many variables. It's an organic process. It's an artistic process. So depending on what the client chooses, there really is just anything for someone's budget, truly.
All right. Yeah, you can't do it by square foot because so many of these finishes require us to go over a wall, 6 times. That's not even uncommon. So if you have 1,000 square feet,
yeah, of course.
you got 6,000.
Right.
You can't charge by that.
You just look at the job and give a price, right?
Correct. Right.
Okay, so we have more coming up on home improvements. If you have any questions about design or getting down and dirty with Genesis Total Exteriors, okay, we're going to do that. But right now, time to take a break and tell you about Ideal Home Loans. I love talking about Ideal because I actually know them personally. I know Brent Ivinson, his family. I know all of the people over there, really. And there is so much more to a loan than money. Of course, you're not going to go anywhere unless you get a great deal, okay? So I'm not going to try to talk you into higher prices. These guys have the lowest rates and the lowest costs around because they're direct lenders. But even if you find someone that matches their price or comes close, there is way more to it. For example, Ideal Home Loans will fit a loan to your needs. And don't think that all loans are the same. They're not. In fact, they'll customize the term. You may not want to go all the way back to 30 years after paying off, but you still want the lower rate. They can do that for you, and they can customize that term for any length that you want. You may want to take out a little extra money to pay off some bills, and they know the wisdom in not extending a washer, a dryer, a vacation, or a car over 30 years. They will teach you how to pay off the extra part you took out quicker so you then get out of debt and still have a lower payment. They have all kinds of plans to help you, including helping you buy a home. I urge you to call my friends at Ideal Home Loans, and don't forget their interest rate guarantee. No matter what you do, you will be guaranteed that the rate will not go down. If it does go down, by the way, if it does go down, they will refinance you free of charge. 303-867-7000. That's a 2-year guarantee. IdealHomeLoans.com.
This report brought to you by Architect Outdoor Living.
Let's start off with the good news on the north end of town. That crash on southbound I-25 at 84th and the wreck on northbound I-25 at 84th. Both have been cleared. Still big backups on both sides of the highway, but it is starting to improve. Still that wreck, that backup crash on southbound I-25 south of 120th, that's being cleared out of the way, so watch out for that. And construction clogging up the drive on the west side of town on westbound I-70 at Ward Road. Looks like they've got the center lane blocked for some bridge work. Backups to Kipling. The weather forecast is going to be sunny and mild today. Nice with a high near 71. Right now, partly sunny in Denver and 59. With the traffic and weather, I'm Pete Wagner, 630 K-House.
Start enjoying your backyard like never before by calling Architect Outdoor Living. If you can dream it, Architect can build it. Go to architect.com for your free design guide. That's architect.com.
What do you mean? You look like Michelangelo up on the thing, so I think you could just do it.
I get everybody else.
Recommended by more than 400,000 customers and guaranteed for life, and endorsed by me. Hi, I'm consumer advocate Tom Martino, and I know Champion's Comfort 365 windows will make your home more comfortable year-round and save you big on energy bills. Go to getchampion.com today to schedule your free in-home consultation and save thousands
Put it in the northern sky in winter if that's what you want.
Yeah, you can change it all the time, right?
Yeah, and we just did that for the Sonic Lives in the springs.
You need pictures of that.
Yeah, and it's such a recent completion that I really got to get back over there and take the time to photograph it.
It's not going to be too long where, especially for ceilings, they're just, I mean, the real high-end stuff's just going to pop.
For your free in-home consultation at getchampion.com. That's
talking to a guy the other day who was thinking of having fiber optic Starfield put in his entertainment center.
Pretty cool.
You could sit there in the dark and the stars would twinkle. And they're all on rheostats, so you could have fun with them. You could even colorize them and just go crazy. That's sort of trending. So is Julie, what's it called? Faux metal ceilings. Faux tin. Yeah, boy, people are really liking that.
Almost like the tin backsplashes I can think of.
Very much like that. But only these are the old.
And walls and ceilings, right.
Hey, we're talking home improvements today, and of course we're talking about wall finishes and home improvements of all kinds. And what a great time to talk about Art of Granite. Mitch Floria in Golden, and Mitch does custom countertops and cabinets direct from the manufacturer, and he also does granite at wholesale pricing. He believes he only wants to get paid for the fabrication and installation. He allows you to buy the granite on his wholesale account, either from him or anywhere you want. If you give him a call, it's some measurements and a photo, he'll give you a preliminary price. If you like what you see, you visit him and pick out more specific materials, then you get a solid price. If you like what you hear, then he will template at your home and get that job done. And you will love it. Mitch really prides himself at personalized attention and customizing your kitchen for your needs with all employees, no subcontractors, from beginning to end. His turnaround is usually from 1 to 4 weeks. Give him a call, 303-386-5919. 303-386-5919. artofgranite.net.
There is a giant vacuum being built right now.
Glenn Beck.
I contend that there is something happening in both parties right now that is really, really good. People are starting to say, I don't know who these people are.
Know where you stand.
15. A new party, and it's going to put one of them out of business.
Stand with Glenn.
You just have to A, know the world is changing, and B,
Weeknights at 7.
know that you have everything you need.
On 630 KHAL.
Do you know there are some sounds that make people literally go into rage? Yeah, it's a fight or flight reaction. You know, for a long time they thought people were just crazy, but it turns out there is an actual condition called misophonia, which translates hatred of sound. Now, Dr. Patty and Dr. Lisa at Colorado Tinnitus and Hearing Center are no stranger to that. They know so many things about so many hearing impairments. Unbelievable. And that's why they were at the forefront of tinnitus, because that was something hardly anyone heard about. They take in their practice all of these things, and they have solutions. They even have a permanent solution now for tinnitus. If your tinnitus falls within a certain frequency range, you know, the sound, they can eradicate it through a special therapy. It's a therapy that goes on for several weeks, and then you're done. Can you imagine getting rid of tinnitus finally? To find out if your tinnitus is the right kind, you need to be evaluated. Give them a call. And even if it's not the right kind to go away permanently, they do have other technologies that can at least mask or help you. Now, I am one of their patients. I love Colorado Tinnitus and Hearing Center. You will too. 303-534-0163. 303-534-0163. And of course, they're on my referral list at referrallist.com.
Your shot at $1,000 now.
I should have bought United Airlines this morning. They were up low.
Did it bounce again?
Yeah, it bounced.
Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome. Mark Szymanski, Genesis Total Exteriors. What's big now? Mark, what are you working on?
Solar windows.
I wanted to talk to you about that because you first introduced me to those. Solar windows. Now, when we say that, you may say, well, I don't have a solar system. It doesn't matter. These windows generate passively electricity. They literally generate it with this film they have in the window pane, right?
That is correct.
And that window pane is only about 20% darker than a normal window.
Yeah.
In fact, it's
like
me,
a screen.
It's a welcoming darkening. I mean, a lot of people pay to get their windows tinted.
Right.
These are already a bit lower in light penetration, which makes them ideal for Colorado. But that electricity, you may say, I don't have a solar system. It doesn't matter. If you get a house full of windows, they're no more expensive than any good custom window.
Correct.
And the side benefit is you wire them together, and we're not talking about a big cable. We're talking about small wire. What happens then?
So it goes right into a converter, which goes right into your system.
And then what?
And then, you know, it
reduces your bill.
It reduces your bill.
Whether you have another system or not.
Correct.
And what if it generates a whole crap load of electricity?
Then you could see a benefit where your electric bill is being paid for completely.
Right. or credits.
Right.
Now, here's the other thing. You get a tax credit.
30%.
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
Can you imagine getting Windows and you get a check, a direct tax credit for 30%?
And they cost about what other premium Windows cost.
Right. So you're getting a 30% discount off of pick your custom window. Then, on top of that, year after year after year, you know what's happening? The windows are being paid for.
When we were at the
only window that pays for itself.
What was that? Where was
We're
it?
at the home show.
Yeah, at the home show. They had these mini homes. Remember I went out there for that?
Yeah, what are they called? Tiny homes. Yeah.
Tiny homes. I started talking to Mark about them. Imagine one of those with those windows. It would be self-sufficient in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
You may have to throw on another panel, but who cares?
No, we do that too, though. We can put panels on the roof, and so...
So are you getting into solar?
Yes, we are.
You know what? I'm happy. You know why? Because there are a lot of clowns in solar. And I am so happy that I'll be able to have someone to refer to. Because, Mark, we've been looking. How long have we looked for people? Really?
I've been courting one.
Yeah, it's hard.
They're hard to find good
ones.
ones.
They come and go so quick.
That's right.
That's the biggest problem.
That's why I want someone who's going to stick around. So what are you going to do with solar, Mark?
I mean, we're strictly now just in the market. We're selling. We are not doing these lease programs or any of that.
So if someone wants these windows, of course, that's a slam dunk.
Right.
Now, if you want to make the full commitment to solar, you will install and sell them the system.
Yep.
Wow. I didn't know this. And what a great name for it, Genesis. I think that this window thing's going to take off. Have you done any installations yet?
We've got our first orders in right now, so we're waiting for them to be manufactured.
That is so cool.
So
now it's a window that is a great quality. Is it vinyl? Of course, extruded, right?
No, it's no aluminum.
Oh, it is.
Aluminum extrusion, and then again, of course, you have your metal on the outside,
right.
Whatever color you want.
Right.
Wood on the inside.
It's clad.
Right. So and it's a.
Is it wood on the inside?
You can, yeah. I'm having mine are being built with alder. So
can you have them built clad on the inside?
Yes, you could.
You could.
Yep.
I mean,
the options are there because they're being built so however you want them.
Okay.
So,
wow,
we have these options.
I wish that I needed windows. I'm telling you, it's such a great idea. Mark, don't you think it's a great idea?
Yep.
Are they double hung?
No, well,
slider.
Yeah,
casement?
No, they casement. They're
all casement. Okay.
They're all casement. It's actually two windows in one. Again, you have your standard window on the inside, and the solar panel is a separate window on the outside. Consequently, it's so much more energy efficient. Anyways, it's a German engineered type window. If you ever seen German windows, that's how they're all made over there and the requirements they have.
Where are they made?
The window itself is being made. The window itself is being made in China. The solar panel is being made in Mexico, and they're being brought to Vegas and put together.
So they're assembled here in the States?
Yes.
How do you get people in Vegas to work? I don't think of Vegas as being a labor market, but maybe it is.
I think he meant Nevada.
Michael, what's going on? Michael.
Yes.
What's going on?
I actually called. I had some input on a guy with the Virginia DMV issue.
Oh, yeah, please.
So I actually live here in Colorado, and I went back to Kansas City where I used to live for a short period of time for work. I run heavy equipment, and I have a CDL on the side.
Yes, Mike.
In order to work there, I had to transfer my license to Missouri.
Wow.
Well, I had a large issue where they said that they didn't have the information from Colorado. They tried to pull the information from Colorado, and Colorado did not put in their system that I had passed all the tests for my CDL, and this is years ago I got it. So they basically told me there's nothing you can do. You have to retest for everything. There's a waiting period on everything, so it would have taken me months before I was actually able to obtain my CDL.
Uh-oh.
So, and on a side note, as far as the DMVs automatically being linked together, unless you tell them that you are from another state, they do not know to ask that state for information.
So when I take a car to be registered, what happens? They don't know it's been registered somewhere else? They can't put that VIN number in and see that? Of course they can, Mike.
Only if they look. They have to specifically look for that state.
That's right.
You have to tell them you've been in that state.
Some of those DMV workers don't look very
Michael,
well.
what I mean is this. Right now, if I go to register a car right now and they throw in my VIN number, they will know where I came from.
As far as The vehicle, I'm not 100% sure.
No, they will. I mean, because it's a national database of VIN numbers. I mean, I know it is because, I mean, there's no reason to tell you why I know, but through Blinker and all these other people we've been in contact with, we've learned all about this. But throughout the country, these VIN numbers are tied together. But that may not be the same, though, for licenses, you know, driver's licenses. I don't know that. Like, I don't know how they would. I know they. I don't know how they would possibly know what you're qualified for in other states.
No, and I had a license that I brought with me, so it showed that I had a CDL, CDL in the state. It wasn't until I know for a fact on the licenses that you have to tell them you've been in another state in order for them to look in the other state to find out if you're... That might very well be so, because I know people who had licenses in more than one state, and I don't think they were supposed to. No, not at all. Now, tell me, what did you do? Did you get this? Did you get this worked out? What I did was, exactly, I got it worked out. But how? I kept pressing the issue, and the lady said, finally, they gave me a number to state. They said you can call the state and ask them, but they're probably going to tell you the same thing. I called the state. I waited on hold for 4 hours. Finally, I got through to somebody. I explained to them my situation, that I come from another state. They told me that I needed to contact Colorado and ask them for all of those prereqs, basically, that you passed all of these tests and did your permit
and you got it done.
All of this stuff, and I was able to get it done that way.
Well, that's
good. And the lady
good.
at the DMV said she worked there for 14 years. She has never seen that happen before, that they have overturned a decision that was in the computer. Well, that is great that you didn't have to redo all that, Mike. So what Mike is saying is true. They don't keep a record of driver's licenses around the country. They don't. They don't have a record of my license in Florida. They can't tell. They can't tell my driving record unless I let them know where I was from. They can't.
This guy from Virginia just went off the hook. He broke all the rules.
No, the guy from Virginia, that was a vehicle question, and vehicles are interlaced, but man, is he screwed right now. Virginia is saying basically online, it's up to you when you move to terminate basically that vehicle in that state, or you will continue to be charged taxes and fines for not having insurance, even if you don't live there anymore. It's ridiculous. We're going to find out more about that in the coming days. We're getting somebody on, I hope, from Motor Vehicle. Right now, I want to tell you, speaking of motor vehicles, Pro Auto Care is the place to take your car, truck, or, well, SUV, if you want not only the best service, but this is what is incredible. In between every service, and it goes out as far as 3 years, even if you go in today and you don't go back for 2 years, in between you have complete roadside assistance. That's right. 36 months with each repair. So most of the time, like me, since I'm a regular customer, I always have roadside repair. If you're a regular customer, you will too, and it's complimentary. He also has many screaming deals under my name on his website, 303proauto.com. I also love, of course, in addition to their wonderful maintenance and repairs, their reminder system for maintenance. Because, you know, when I was growing up, it was always the fathers in the families that kept track of the cars for the kids and stuff. This is like having your own car nanny. They will let you know when an oil change is due, when something else is due, when the manufacturer recommends something, if there's a recall, whatever it is, they keep track of your vehicle for you. You'll be taken care of at Pro Auto Care, 2 locations near Evans and I-25, near Bowles and Santa Fe. 303proauto.com, of course, is that website. And as you probably figured out, it's also the phone number without the .com, 303-PRO-AUTO.
From the L&L Heating and Air Conditioning Traffic Center.
This report is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Let's start off with the good news. Up north, all of those wrecks on I-25, north and southbound at 84th and southbound at 120th, they've all been cleared out of the way. Traffic flow pretty much back up to speed on the north end of town. However, seeing some slowing on southbound I-25 just south of the I-70 interchange on the approach to Spear, so watch out for that. And still that construction slowing up the drive on westbound I-70 out by Woodville. Center lane is blocked. Back.
Yeah, that's more to the mountain than a straight.
So Virginia is not for lovers, is what you're saying.
You took off with our plates, we'll show you.
That's their motto, Virginia is for lovers.
Is that right?
Apparently not. Yeah.
Shows online, they trust
saved, and improved. Have you registered as donor? It's easy.
Sign up today. Go to organdonor.gov. That's organdonor.gov.
Joseph A. Lazzara is an attorney I hope you never need because he deals in criminal defense. Obviously, no one wants to be accused of anything, and of course, everyone says they're innocent. Here's the good thing. We don't care if you're guilty or innocent. You need help no matter what. You really do. And Joseph A. Lazzara, I know, will give you help, and he will help you through the system, especially if you were crazy and stupid enough to get a DUI. Now, I say crazy and stupid because it is so easy to prevent. It's the one crime that should not even happen because you can get a designated driver or Uber or Lyft or Yellow Cab. Here's the deal. If you're stopped, listen, only one of two things happen. Either you were stupid or you absolutely are falsely accused. So in either case, you're going to need help. Joseph A. Lazzara. LazzaraLegal.com. It's Lazzara. 303-429-6200. 303-429-6200. On my referral list at referralist.com.
Looking for less sneeze? Call Bees and get your air ducts cleaned. Why would you pay full price when Bees does the same thing for 70% of the standard cost? It's a no-brainer. So dial pound 250 on your cell phone, again on your cell phone, and say keyword dirty ducts. That's pound 250 keyword dirty ducts and get an additional $100 off your first duct cleaning.
Well, that's the bee's knees.
Do it now. Don't wait. This offer won't last long. You'll have the option of receiving an auto-dialed text message from iHeartMedia.
Hey there, Dan Cicchini, owner of Done Right Kitchens and Baths, Windows and Doors. There's absolutely no reason why right now can't be your time to get started on that beautiful new kitchen or that awesome bath you've always wanted. See what our family can do for your family. 800-362-8370.
Aurora Orthodontics and TMJ is a practice dedicated to making beautiful smiles and correcting your crooked teeth later in life. Aurora Orthodontics and TMJ. Dr. Kent Lawson has pioneered a process for adults that requires no surgeries and no extractions, and he has proven that the palate can still be widened and teeth can naturally be straightened without surgery. He has these expansion modules that happen over time. And in fact, if you do his system, which lasts anywhere from 6 months to 2 years, that's not a long time in the scheme of things, 2 years, you will get beautiful teeth with minimal time in braces. And when you are in braces, they will be Invisalign. So here's the deal. Instead of spending $50,000, $60,000 for a mouthful of veneers, yeah, that's what it's going to be, about $3,000 each, you can save a lot of money and do it the natural way by widening your palate and aligning your jaw. And when you do that, not only do you get straight, beautiful teeth, you get healthier with TMJ, with sleep apnea, and other problems that originate in the mouth. Give him a call, Dr. Kent Lawson, 303-690-0100, 303-690-0100.
The radio station that's got people talking. Denver's talk station, 630 KHOW.
Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome. Custom Wall Designs are with us. If you want to know more about them, go to our referral list at referralist.com. Put in custom wall finishes. Julie, her husband King, they run it. They're also on Facebook. If you put in after the facebook.com wall finishes. And we're talking about anything you want as well. Graham, you wanted to ask me something about recourse, and it says something about 16 years.
Yeah, hi, Tom.
Hi.
I had a question for you. My wife and I built a custom house in 2000. It's a single story with a walkout. And in the rainy season in 2013, when we had the floods, we started to develop some cracks upstairs. And in 2014, I actually called an engineer, had him come out. And after about, 20 minutes, he just said, I think I know what your problem is. He said the walls are all built wrong in the basement. The float was never established, and the drywall is, in fact, pushing up on the center of the house as it's heaving.
Do you know what he means?
These cracks.
Do you know what he means, Mark Szymanski at Genesis Total Exteriors? The float meaning that he's saying the walls are affixed to the concrete, so when the concrete moves, the walls are moving? Is that what he's saying?
That's my understanding. They don't have floating walls, right?
Right. So floating walls, for those listening, they're basically, for lack of a better word, nails or spikes put into the concrete or the sill plate, and then the walls basically, they're holes. You put the nails through, but they float up and down that nail to give it some expansion capability. And now in elaborate systems where you have truly bad expansive soil, it's totally different. But this is for the normal build. So are they saying that they hard fixed the wall down to the concrete?
Well, in fact, I took two of the walls apart, and the drywall goes completely to the concrete, and then the drywall is nailed into the guide 2x4 that's connected to the concrete.
To the sill plate.
Yeah.
But that might not have been a code requirement at the time when that was built.
For those listening, the concrete wall, picture it, that's the foundation. Picture a square. Then picture a flat piece of a 2x4, not standing upright, but flat, on top of that wall, and that's put in with a ram set into the concrete, and that is the sill plate, and that's what the wall is nailed to. That's where you start the wall. And usually another bottom plate of the wall floats above that sill plate with a nail in between. And so you have a 4-inch nail, you have a 4-inch float, or, a 3-inch float. So
that is correct.
So he did not do that. He literally nailed the 2x4s directly into the sill plate, is what you're saying.
Correct.
With no float anywhere in that house.
There is no float in the basement, no.
Well, the basement is the whole house, around the house. If you go around the perimeter and you look where the concrete meets the wall, you will see the wall sitting flat on the concrete. Is that what you're saying?
That is correct.
Okay. So what is your question? Mark, that is improper, right?
Well, it is now, but back when that house was built, it may not have been.
Well, let's see. 16 years? I think it was still floating in 16 years. But in any case, did you have an inspection? Did you have a framing inspection?
Yes, we did.
Well, past inspection. I don't know what the code was.
But the framing inspection comes before the drywall is put on.
No, I know that, but they can see if the wall is nailed to the floor or floating. That's when they can see it.
The way that so the wall was built to float, but when they put the drywall on,
the drywall. Okay, I understand that. But I don't think that drywall would be strong enough to...
you'd be surprised.
Really?
It can push. It could cause more cracking somewhere else in the house, yes.
Okay, so the fact that he had a floating wall, but the drywall encapsulated that house to the sill plate, basically.
Right.
So you're telling me, Mark, that drywall could literally push up that much force?
Yes, because it's a nice, it's a flat surface, and you got that whole wide...
Well, okay. So anyway, it doesn't matter what I think. Your engineer said it was doing it, right? Right?
Yes.
He said it was pushing up on the house, right?
Correct.
So what did he say needed to be done?
He said that we should have somebody come in, or I could do it.
And cut out the bottom 2 inches of the drywall.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then put new molding in.
You don't even have to do that.
Some of the problem would go away.
Well, all of it would go away. Why wouldn't it?
Well, the molding can cover the 2-inch gap.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're going to take that out because you got to do that to cut out the drywall anyways.
Yeah. So, in any case, yes. So, how much is that going to cost?
I don't know, $1,000.
To hire somebody at the tops, $2,000, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, what was your question?
My question is that. So we've been living in the house. I don't know how long the actual warranty is good for.
Well, first of all, there is no warranty. There is no warranty unless you have one. Do you have one?
I do. Well, I'd have to go dig it out.
There's no warranty. There's no warranty in the world that's going to go past. That's 16 years. You don't have a warranty. Now, so what is your question?
I guess my point is it's not built to code. Do I have any recourse? Because it wasn't built to code.
Well, let's explore this, okay? You could argue breach of contract. Hold on, we'll come right back to you. Okay, let's just examine it. Fuller Law, John Fuller, personal injury attorney. That means you get hurt, you get paid. Not really, but people think that. That's why you need someone like John Fuller to really cut through the mustard to see what the story is. He will tell you if truly you do have a case. That's one of the most important features, to see if you have a case. Because truly, if you are injured due to the negligence of someone else, you have every right to expect to be made whole. That's what John Fuller does, and he will fight for you if he believes you have a case. But by all means, please call him first, and he will give you the attention you need. He has the skill it takes, and he has the track record to prove it. 303-597-4500. His initial consultations and entire representation is based on no cost to you except out of your settlement a small percentage. 303-597-4500. His website is johnrfuller.com. johnrfuller.com. Also on my referral list at referrallist.com.
This report is brought to you by Arm & Hammer
Still
Slide
not
Cat
big
Remote.
delays warming. I just remembered that. Yeah, so I'm going to do that. I got to do them. How difficult would it be to get the lives that he has in the system that maybe I could alter the ends? Could you send me some? Or how many? They're not that many, right? Okay, yeah, if you could email it me, I could probably make them work. There is no way? When they're in the system, there's no way to get them. Maybe I can ask traffic.
Jesus Christ, this is crazy.
We didn't hear about that.
No.
Have you heard the expression changing the paradigm? It doesn't matter if you know what it means. You'll remember when it comes to floor covering that Paradigm Interiors is changing the system when it comes to interiors. Let me tell you why. They took the big small model. I love the big small model. First of all, you got two guys, Don and Matt, who wanted to do business in a personalized way with a warehouse setting. They wanted to give you the selection of all the big warehouses. No seconds or thirds, however, like a lot of them have. They're all first quality merchandise. But the tile, the hardwood, the laminates, the vinyl, luxury tile, the new waterproof carpeting, whatever you can imagine in floor coverings, they have samples, they have proofs, they have some stuff in stock, but mostly they can get it to you within 1 or 2 days. By the way, what difference does it make if it's in stock? In fact, if it's in stock, most floor covering places force it on you. That's why it's best to go to Paradigm. They will give you an open book. You can pick what you want with your design consultant. That is supplied to you, of course, complimentary. They also have a project manager assigned to you, complimentary. Everything is done in that personalized service, but you get the warehouse pricing and selection. It's the best way to go. 14 years in business, locally owned and operated, and they are on Evans, just west of Santa Fe. 303-630-9204. 303-630-9204. That's Paradigm Interiors.
Coloradans 62 and older, are you not feeling as financially secure as you'd like to? Is cash flow tight?
That would be good. That's good. That's good.
The Chinese troops are still up against North Korea, aren't they? Aren't the Chinese troops still up against North Korea?
Yeah. They don't want them running into there. They don't.
Mark,
That's their biggest thing.
American financing. Did you hear? Reverse mortgages. You know, this is the time of year, believe it or not, that most cars are sold because the weather starts looking good. People want to look good. This is when you think about buying a car. And if you do, Rockies has the selection you want. They even have the golf cart you can drive around in looking at that selection because they have such a big lot. All you have to do is sit back and see something that you like, and all of those prices will be fully disclosed. Now, I encourage you to shop around. People always say, Tom, what should I do? I say shop, but definitely put Rockies on the list. And take notes, because you know why? When you compare apples with apples, and you truly compare, you will find that Rockies has superior prices. When I say superior, I mean not more, but usually way less, or at least comparable with more options. They just have better values. They buy all of their cars cash. They own them with no loans on them. That means their cars sitting on the lot do not get more expensive each and every day. They own each and every car, and they give best trade-in values because they sell most of the trades right there. When you put all these elements together, the volume, the cash owning of the cars, the high trade-in values, and 40 lenders to choose from, you see that that spells a good deal. In fact, a great deal. Rockies 63rd and Federal, Monday through Saturday, 9 to 8. 303-426-4646.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Healthcare.
I don't even want to talk about it. So mishandled from the get-go. After 8 years, I am holding them accountable.
Sean Hannity.
They suck.
Coming up.
They're lame.
Today at 1.
Pathetic.
On 630 KHOW.
Frank Duran, the real estate man. Just remember that. That's all you have to remember. If you're going to buy a house, sell a house, Frank Duran, the real estate man. Repeat after me, Mark. Frank Duran, the real estate man. Actually, Frank, Frank really did buy and sell your house. He took care of you. And he'll take care of anyone. 303-920-1622. Frank Duran. Hey, George has a comment. What is the comment on that builder, George?
Well, just in terms of when they rebuild, the owner rebuilds that wall, well, the bottom part of it when he cuts out the drywall, whatever he's going to do, he needs to make sure that not only the bottom of the drywall isn't connected at all to the pressure-treated plate, but also the trim. So you don't want any baseboard, for instance, attached to the floating part of the wall, the fixed part of on the floor.
You're absolutely right.
Really, the concept is very straightforward. You just need to be thinking through the consequences of each step of the way.
Yeah, and obviously that builder didn't do it. Thank you, George. We neglected to talk about that with that board, but that's right. That's right. Now, he wants to know any recourse. Well, first of all, Graham, what we talk about when we have something like this is basically a breach of contract, and that's what you would say. You would say that obviously you contracted with them to build a house, and they did not use reasonable care, or they did not do it correctly, so in essence, they breached the contract, which cost you a loss. Let's say your loss is $2,000, okay? Now, if you have breach of contract, there's a statute of limitation, okay? The statute of limitations is, I believe, 3 years. 4 years, is it, on breach, Mark, in state?
Nope, I'm looking at California. Colorado is 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. So it's 3 years from the time you discover that you've been breached or should have discovered, okay? So now, even if we stretch that, okay, I don't believe you can go beyond 12 years, because I believe that could be argued to be an absolute statute of limitations. In other words, there's got to be a cutoff someday. I think an absolute statute would apply here. Maybe not. But let's say it doesn't. Let's say you could argue that you found this when? When did you, and you said 2013. So you're beyond.
It was 2014 when, it was 2013 when we had all the rain.
Well, okay, so when you discovered, when you should have discovered, okay? I don't know if it's 13 or 14, but you're right on the cusp, which means you would have to file a lawsuit. When did you discover in 2014? When? When did you have the inspector?
I'm not sure, but I think it was the springtime. I've been working in and out of the U.S.
The springtime of 14, springtime of 15, 16, it's springtime of 17. This is 3 years. You would literally have to file a lawsuit if you didn't already miss it, if within a couple weeks. Okay, first, you're not going to find an attorney to do it. Okay? I mean, you can pay an attorney, but they're going to tell you they can't get it ready in a week or two. Second, it's not worth taking because for you to take this on, because it's going to cost you $10,000 to $15,000 minimum, and it's a $2,000 repair. So even if, first of all, you're not going to get into court because I believe you're beyond the statute. But even if you did, the losses you're suffering are far from worth it. There's just not worth it. If your entire house was in danger of collapsing and you had a big problem, it would be a major undertaking. You should take it. But we're talking about $2,000.
Did he have it built?
Yeah.
Say that again, please?
You had it built, right, Graham?
Yes.
Or was it a track home or custom?
It was custom.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, then you see why it's not worth it.
Correct.
And
I was just
go ahead.
again. I was just wondering. I didn't want to. I didn't want to have to pay twice for my wall. That's all.
Yeah, and you're lucky. I mean, it's not a lot of money. Tell me about that. Is the house in good shape?
The house is in pretty good shape.
All right.
We ended up having a second engineer come in spring of last year, so it was about a year ago.
Yeah.
He said pretty much the same thing, but he was also concerned that we were on a hillside. But,
Is that builder still around?
Yes, he is.
Still building homes.
Who's the builder?
Do I have to say I live very
well,
close to him?
what difference does it make? He doesn't know who you are. Do you think? I mean, I don't care. I mean, it's just that, first of all, I don't think the builder is at fault. It's whatever subs he had at the time. So,
right. So
fine. That's fine. You don't have to say. Okay, I just want to say Custom Wall Designs. You can reach them at 719-510-9170, 719-510-9170. And, of course, Mark Szymanski, Genesis Total Exteriors, 303-679-8509, 679-8509.
Rates are still low. Save thousands and have low...
Oh,
Just for Grant's sake, find out his name.
Oh, you sent it. Never mind.
Just forward it to him.
I just wondered who that
Just make him sound crazy.
custom home builder. I don't.
Seriously.
I can't believe there's any custom home builder that's been around 60 years.
Yeah, especially after what went through 5 years ago.